Good evening, one and all. It's Friday, it's the end of the working week, and that means today, once again, we're diving into some more turning Warframes into D&D monsters. I can't really call it just D&D or Dungeons and Dragons. We're doing not that specifically. I don't know. Karakop with the Hydrate. Karakop won after all. I saw a few of you discussing it in the load up there, but Karakop, cheers. Eurelia is not last, by the way. No, Eurelia will not be last. Zephyr will be last. Unless I decide to just skip Eurelia, which is a real possibility. I might just go, actually, Eurelia isn't a Warframe, and yeah, call it a day. Entirely possible I could do that. That is my document, not on yours. Yo! Karakop gifting out a sub to Raynuva. Raynuva, congratulations on apparently, according to the bot, reaching 8 months of subscribing. You really do have to soak up those gifts then, apparently. Well done. Raynuva, thank you very much on there. Well, Karakop, I should say, thank you very much, Raynuva, for, being you. Cheers. Addy saying, today is the day that ends with Ice EDM. Alright, I see. Sticking with good old faithful there. We had the ambient on the startup, but now it's gone. Now it's gone. I'll just turn that down just ever so slightly, because otherwise, now, smash through. But, yes. Sangria says, don't you dare skip Eurelia. I mean, if you dare me. Yes, Squirbo, that's the joke. That would be why it said Squirbo. Alrighty, so for those of you who missed it in the previous streams, I have put together Excalibur and Mag and Volt. So that gets the stars out of the way, and then we've got Ash, and we've got Atlas, and we've got Banshee, all created in a D&D style. So you can already take these monsters and plop them into your campaign. Bam, there you go. So today, the idea is to create Baruuk. And similar to how Banshee starts off up there, we need to do the same for Baruuk. We need to define this master of unarmed strikes, way of the wind, and all that lot. But the thing is that as much as Baruuk has some elements which are classical monk stuff, Baruuk doesn't really match with monks in Dungeons and Dragons. Monks in Dungeons and Dragons, they have the ability to move more quickly. They have, for example, reduced damage from falling. Baruuk has nothing special on that because there is no fall damage in Warframe. Monks can access various special magical abilities, like being able to just teleport between zones of darkness, or being able to control earth, wind, water, and fire in elemental styles. They can get even more attacks in Baruuk is not that. Baruuk's special abilities are actually very much more defensive, so he doesn't act like a typical monk in that sense. So, as much as there are monkey themes, and I don't mean monkey, I mean monk-like themes, Baruuk is going to be different from a Dungeons and Dragons monk, and so I'm going to take this in a different direction. I'm definitely going to take this in a different direction overall. Snake was saying, finally crafting frost because I need a fashion frame. Oh, well, fair enough. Get yourself a frost, sure. Sure. Karakop say, well, Sunday it'll be my last hydrate before I leave for holiday. Oh, I see. Well, I hope you have yourself a good holiday, Karakop. Hope you have a good time, wherever it is you are heading off to. I see you mean earth, wind, and fire? I don't know what exactly you mean I should be saying. I usually mean what I say, so no. Basically. Someone saying Eurelia would probably be annoying as hell for melee characters. Eurelia would definitely be quite a thing. Eurelia would definitely be quite a thing to deal with. But we'll get there as we get there. For now, let's get started onto Baruuk, because Baruuk is the one we're working with today. And for that, I need a descriptor to get started with Baruuk as a thing. As I say, Baruuk has Elude, Baruuk has Lull, Baruuk has the daggers, from whatever that ability is called. I'll need to look at the name of it in a moment. And then Baruuk obviously has Desert Wind. Yeah. While most Warframes will find a way to tear you limb from limb, Baruuk takes an altogether different approach. You'll find it hard to stop a Warframe that cannot get hit in the first place. Hold it down too long, and you'll discover there's more power behind Baruuk's fists than it's all usually let on. I mean, I can't really make Baruuk that much more interesting. He's frankly a relatively unentertaining frame to talk about. So I think that gives us a bit of an intro to it. Daglo's abilities, Dazzler Hands, thank you. Don't let its calm deceive you, as its fists can inflict a lot of pain. I mean, fists inflict a lot of pain. That fits more into Atlas's style, as a fist can inflict a lot of pain. It's just, again, the phrasing there is, I'm going for the power behind the fist, because I'm talking things like the Desert Wind Waves. But yeah, it's tough to really place it, especially as that's also fourth ability, so only matters like a fraction of the time. Most of the time, Baruuk is a focus on good luck hitting me kind of deal. Calm before the storm? Oh, that's cliche, Cosmo. If we could avoid cliches, that'd be great. The calm before the storm. I would say first prime before DE. I suppose, yeah, we're doing that. I will be making Baruuk prime before DE does. Yep, that is a thing. Gorilla saying elude doesn't work on melee attacks. I'm curious how this works since most of D&D is melee focused, where Warframe isn't. I mean, D&D doesn't have to be melee focused, but yeah. So, working with this, obviously carrying over the rules from Warframe to D&D directly is absolutely not an option. I'm already doing away with restraint. The whole restraint concept for Baruuk does not apply, because that works in a video game sense, and it works when it's Baruuk against untold numbers of enemies sense. It doesn't work in D&D, where you're going to have a party of sometimes as low as just 2 players. So that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen on this one. So I'm going to have to think of a different way of taking all this. Yeah. I have to think of an entirely different way of taking all this. So let's grab the stat block from Banshee, just copy over the basic one, because it gives me a starting point. Oop. Grab the whole lot. Let's pop that one here. There we go. Alright, so let's turn this stat block into one for Baruuk. We're going to have ourselves a Baruuk Initiate, which is just going to have the elude ability to start. So medium monstrosity, neutral evil, all the bits and pieces. Let's figure this all out. Now with Baruuk, what I think I might be able to do is focus heavy on the defensive side, but have an ability defense focus. And as a result of that, I might be able to actually whack up the challenge rating a bit, just because the players are going to have so much trouble actually hitting him. Just kind of the idea. So if I aim for challenge rating 5 on this one, it's going to be much more classically combat focused rather than the support that Banshee was. Also, Zom, cheers. Gorilla saying, imagine all the Mace players that would be pissed if you couldn't recast Regulators. What do you mean, like in D&D or what? Already basically only allow 1 cast speech power for each Warframe, so doesn't happen in game? Well, in most cases. In some cases I'll give them 2 casts for this or that, but normally it's 1 cast, yes. It comes down to trying to manage how much the frame should be able to do without exceeding what their challenge should be. Where you can see the past Warframes I've done. So the past Warframes should be available over on the Discord. Did I set up a command for the specific bit? Yeah, exclamation mark download is the command on that one. But basically it's over on the Discord, so exclamation mark Discord to get the details on that. It is in the miscellaneous games post, or miscellaneous games forum on the Discord, and it's Warframes, it's Dungeons & Dragons Monsters. The link for the full document up to last stream is there. This stuff isn't for full releases yet though, Rosie, so if you do use that there, just use it for your games, and I'd like to have feedback on how it works in your games. It's not for general distribution at this time because it's, well, not finished. That's the long and short of it. Hello, Esprit. How are we doing, Baruuk's Restraint? We're not. Restraint just... It's a video game thing. It's not suitable for D&D. So, Restraint is just not happening. Instead, let's get cracking on with all of the rest of it. So, as I say, I'm aiming for challenge rating 5. I once again have forgotten to load up a challenge rating table. XP, CR, 5e. Not shopping. No, God, no. Definitely not shopping. Images. That's the chart I wanted. Wonderful. So, that comes to 1800. Let's update that one there. Now we get onto the really interesting bits and pieces. What's replacement passive? There's not a replacement Korokop. The entire restraint passive is a bit of damage reduction, which isn't going to matter. We're just going to scale things appropriately. And the ability to use the fourth ability. That's it. That's the entire restraint passive. So we can just ignore that. As far as passives go, it's great for, well, okay, it's not really great, but it's acceptable for video gameplay. Tabletop gameplay, pointless. Absolutely pointless. We don't need it. I'm just chucking that straight out. So, we have a challenge rating of 5 and going, as I say, on the more defensive side. Going back to our stat details here. On the more defensive, we can see that challenge rating of 5 would normally be 1490. So what I can do, I'm not going to up the AC on this directly, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not going to up the AC directly. I think... Yeah. Not going to up the AC. Going to up the hit points slightly, and then I say aim for lower damage to make it more defensive. So if I just read across the line, actually, because the rest of the abilities will make the defensive side of it. That should work. So just go AC 14, HP 90, and to achieve that, we can do that very simply. Unarmored straight off the bat. I've already got 14 dex from Banshee on the original stats. We can do the same here. And it is an aim of, what was it? I said 14 AC? Yeah, 14 AC. So if I go for a Wisdom 14 and I need to bring something else down. If I bring down the Intelligence 14 as well, so +2/+2 on all of those, that gives me the right amount of stats across the board. And what we can do is a soundless form. We'll replace this with what's it called? What's it called in games? It's unarmored defense, isn't it? Has the music stopped again? What's going on with that today? Weird. Yeah, unarmored defense. Baruuk's passive approach allows it to evade attacks with greater ease. Its AC is equal to 10 plus Dex plus Wiz. And that is why its AC is 14. I don't know, Daddy. I really don't know. Are we ever going to figure out how to kill a Warframe? I've left that up to the DM. I've given some lore details to it, but it's pretty much up to the DM of the players go on a quest to find where the Warframes are coming from, find their foundry and destroy the foundry. Pretty much it. You're in time for Baruuk? Of course you're in time for Baruuk. It's a whole stream of Baruuk, Jason. It's a whole stream of it. True. Proficiency bonus is going to be +3 because we're starting at challenge 5, so that's going to rack that up ever so slightly as well. Skills. Perception and stealth. I'm going to stick with the perception, but instead of stealth this time, I'm going to go for acrobatics. Fitting in with the monkish theme. And so that's going to be a +5. Perception is going to be a +5. Working on those stats there. Also, I said with the hit points, they need to be a lot higher as well, didn't they? Hit points, I'm looking for 90 as my aim, so I'll figure that out in a it. In fact, you know what? I'm going to drop the intelligence down so that I can bring up the con a little bit as well. I'll make, again, spellcasting weaker, but we don't need to worry about that too much because it's going to be reflected in any other ways that Baruuk operates. This is a relatively balanced stat block for a Warframe, but it should work out. It's meant to be a balanced approach. It's unlikely that I'll be able to get through all 4 tiers of Baruuk in one stream and then something more, but we'll see. We'll see how it all times out. On armed defense, we've got Baruuk's passive approach, allows it to evade attacks with greater ease. Its AC is equal to 10 plus Dex plus Wiz, and I can carry that on throughout, which is how its AC will naturally climb without having to use the natural armor trait. Sometimes that's relevant to stuff, sometimes it's not. Basically, that explains his defense in a different way. Passive perception is going to be 15. Bullet jump once per turn. Baruuk may change their jump, and it's the same stats because I haven't changed the strength, so I can just leave those numbers as they are. Wonderful. Now we have the first ability to set up, Elude, and that one I think has to be an action. Almost certainly has to be an action, this one. Yeah. So, way Elude works in-game is that if Baruuk hasn't attacked, then attacks coming from a certain direction with high range, that's any direction, the shots just phase through him. They just do nothing. So we'll figure out on that side in a moment. Also, Jason coming in with the immediate mathematics to the hit points. You absolute ledge. Thank you very much. There we go. Jason, you've been a very, very big help on this channel, actually. With the development of this project, you've been an incredible help. I have that. So now we need to figure out on the rest on it. Now, with regards to D&D, you don't usually want to use too much in the way of facing mechanics. So what I instead want to do with Elude is use it more like an anti-mobile feat. Those who don't know on that, if we go mobile feat 5e, within 5th edition you can pick up the mobile feat. When you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks on that creature for the rest of the turn, whether you hit or not. So the mobile feat, basically, if you attack a creature, you get a bonus to not being hit by that creature, effectively. I'm going to do the opposite for Elude. For Elude, it's going to make it harder for people to attack the Warframe, except for those people that the Warframe has attacked. Effectively replicating the idea of if Baruuk is attacking, doesn't get the Elude bonus, but without it being constantly turned off because Baruuk is attacking every single turn. See where I'm going with that, chat? I think that should be balanced in a sense of if Baruuk chooses the wrong target to go toe-to-toe with, that target will just tear him apart. It also then encourages Baruuk to focus on a target rather than try and split up their attacks, or to try and navigate around to get to a target they can get into melee with and not be so concerned about. So that should, if I'm reading game mechanics correctly, that should make it where Baruuk works out to be dangerous, but also with a weakness, as what they attack is a threat to them. So, Baruuk begins to shift and phase, making it harder. No. Making some attacks simply pass right through it harmlessly. I should give this spell a duration of 1 minute. For the duration, all attacks against Baruuk have disadvantage. Don't need to do any end on that, just all attacks against Baruuk have disadvantage. Yeah, yeah, all attacks against Baruuk have disadvantage. If Baruuk attacks a creature or object, that target doesn't suffer the disadvantage of this spell until the start of Baruuk's next turn. I think that covers it. Gorilla saying, sounds fairly balanced. Assume that'll mean that everyone attacking him will receive disadvantage except for the last person he attacked. Yeah. So for the duration, all attacks against Baruuk have disadvantage. If Baruuk attacks a creature or object, that target doesn't suffer the disadvantage of this spell until the start of Baruuk's next turn. I mean, that's pure and simple. And similarly then, if Baruuk takes an opportunity attack against someone, if someone tries to move away and Baruuk uses that to take the reaction to hit, Baruuk's made an attack. With that then, the creature is trying to leave, now has the normal chance to hit Baruuk. So, whether they're still leaving or not, they might change their mind at that point. They might go, oh, you want to hit me, do you? All right, I'll come right back then. Come at me, boy. So, yeah, I think that should work out balanced. I mean, it's tough to deal with. You know, you have to get rid of that disadvantage to fight it properly a lot of the time. But overall, that should balance out. And because that is exceedingly defensive, I don't need to go too hard on the offense for Baruuk. Taking that all into account, I can basically really bring down Baruuk's overall offensive capabilities. The innate spellcasting. Baruuk's innate spellcasting ability is Intelligence. I can just put the spell save DC because the spell attack isn't relevant on this. Spell save DC is going to be 8 plus 4 for a total of 12. There we are. You can cast the following spell, which is, of course, Elude. This is so powerful. I'm going to actually call that a 3rd level spell. Because that is seriously powerful. It's straight up for 1 minute. If he doesn't attack, Baruuk has the permanent dodge ability, effectively. So how would AoE save spells affect monsters in this effect? So they don't have any change. That's the thing, Gorilla. Because it is attacks, save spells are not affected. For that, Baruuk is going to rely on just Baruuk's general ability to evade. So Baruuk is strong against martials, weak against mages here. Which is the exact opposite of what we had with Banshee, where Banshee's silence, when that kicked in, just said, ha ha ha, you were casting spells? No. Exact opposite. So yeah, Baruuk is stronger against martials in that sense, but is also then going to struggle against heavily armoured martials through going to have weaker attacks overall. So let's figure those bits in as well now. With the attacks, short sword, I'm gonna, you know what, Baruuk should just use fists. Do I give Baruuk fists with a bonus to damage, like a monk style? Is this a concentration spell? This is not a concentration spell, I don't even know. Because of this sheer defense approach I want to give to Baruuk, a concentration spell would actually just wipe that out very quickly. It's only in the boss fight scenario. So no, this one is specifically not concentration. Once it's on, it's on. The cost is the action. That's the bit where Baruuk is struggling, having spent that action just to get that started, and it's weaker than the dodge action for that first turn, but it stays on thereafter. Yeah, I might go for a D4 fist on this. You know, give Baruuk the what's it? Is it unarmed strike trait? Yeah, unarmed strike trait. So let's add this in up here. Unarmed strike. Baruuk is a master of martial arts. Actually, no. Baruuk is an initiate. Initiate in martial arts. I'm going to step that up terminology-wise with each stage. So Baruuk is an adept in martial arts. Baruuk is a master of martial arts. Baruuk is at its prime in martial arts. I think that should work for terminology purposes. Baruuk is an initiate in martial arts, delivering more powerful unarmed blows. It's unarmed. Actually, I don't need to say unarmed blows, just blows. Its unarmed strikes deal 1d4 damage included in the attack. Yeah, that's what monks do, Gorilla. Absolutely. Monks at higher levels have higher damage dice on their unarmed strikes. That's just the thing they have. So if we go with that then, the to hit is going to be a +5. Reach 5 for one target, but it's going to be 1d4 plus 2. Oh yeah. Ooh. Might make it too weak if I use strength. No, I should also include it and use his dexterity. It's unarmed strikes. Use dexterity and deal 1d4 damage. There we are, yeah. Because that keeps it still workable. The average hit there is only going to be 4. And what I could do here as part of the multi-attack is I could still give Baruuk a short bow as a ranged weapon, but that short bow won't be eligible for the multi-attack, which will further reduce the amount of damage that Baruuk can actually put out. So, let's see, what damage do we need to get to per turn? Challenge 5 is asking for 30. We're going much weaker than that, so I can go for about 20. Which, honestly, D4 is actually not going to do. Actually, I do still need to hit the 20, so actually, I want to take that higher. Let me rethink the stats here. Baruuk's not a spellcaster. Baruuk is not a spellcaster. Let me take that down further. Intelligence only 10. Dex 16 for +3, and acrobatics I know goes up to +6. I need to get more out of this, so I have to upgrade this. This does increase. This would increase the AC. I'll take the point out to wisdom instead of intelligence. Because I don't want that AC going any higher with the disadvantage crap going on already. A D8 will be too much, Grillo, because we need somewhere we can scale into. So D6, D8, D10, D12. That's our limit on scaling already for dice, because you don't use D20 for damage die. That'd be ridiculous. So I want to still have somewhere we can scale into. So yeah, bringing up that dex by dropping down the wisdom here. Everything else should be fine at that stage. The AC is still correct based on the numbers I've given. So the melee weapon is now a +6 to hit. That hit is going to be, let's figure it out, a d6 +3. That's going to be 6 damage. There we are. That is bludgeoning damage. Multi-attack. Baruuk makes 3 attacks with its fists. I'm definitely making Baruuk weak at range here if I'm going with the short bow, because Baruuk will just simply only have a single attack on the short bow. Actually, do I go short bow or light crossbow then? No, short bow, short bow, short bow. Welcome back, Jason. And not Banshee, Baruuk. Baruuk makes 3 attacks with its fists, so that would come to only 18, which is still on the very low side for a challenge rating 5. 30 is the typical aim for challenge rating 5. I'm taking that all the way down to just below challenge rating 3. That's still fine within concept because we're going for a very defensive one. So this is one that I'll just kind of get around to stuff. Being that they are very melee focused, I'm going to give them a little bit more speed, so they can actually get to where they're going. So 35 feet for now, and I can ramp that up with later tiers too, similar to how I did with Volt. Baruuk makes 3 attacks with its fists. Short bow. I need to know the range on a short bow. I just search short bow. Is that going to work? Whatever. I'll use a different source than that one apparently. What's this, Warframe D&D? Yeah, I'm turning Warframes into Dungeons & Dragons monsters for 5th edition. Range is 80-20 with a d6. Sorry, 83-20. That is, yeah, that's 6 damage as well. There we go, yeah. Yeah, Genemy. Because you see, I've got a lot of Warframes already done. We've got Excalibur, Mag, Volt, Ash, Atlas, and Banshee with 4 of each of them. 1 for each tier of play. And we're doing Baruuk now. Stream number 6, Warframe number 7. I did one of them off stream. We're doing Baruuk. So with that, yeah. Let's review this then. So we've got highly dex focused. The balance is gone to make this work. Highly dex focused Baruuk here. We've got all of the hit points. Now they're going to need at this tier. We've got slightly above average speed to help them at least kind of keep up with stuff. The armor class is doing right. The spell is incredibly powerful. Their armor is just natural defense so that it can't be taken away from them. Their unarmed strikes, they've got some decent damage going in, and again, that can't be disarmed. But they're just weak. Their damage output is low, and that's exactly where we need it to be. Yeah, I think that perfectly fits what I had in mind for a Baruuk initiative. We can move straight on from that one. Unless anyone sees any errors in the text there. Yeah, I think we're good. Let's upgrade this now to the Baruuk Adept. So for Baruuk Adept, I'm going to aim for a challenge rating of approximately 10, which is 5900 XP. There we go. Basic stats though I want to be aiming at. So again, we're looking on the defensive side. So 16 AC I could take straight off the board there. I want to aim for aim just a flat defense. I did that on the first one. I'll do this one here as well. So just flat values here. 16, 150. I don't need to mess with the math. The math works. Aiming for 16, 150. We'll see how that all works out in a moment. Because I need to figure out what stats are going to be across the board here as well. I need a total of plus 8, 2 of which already goes into here. So let's bring this up to -1. So I need to add 6 more points across the board. If I do 1 to each of these, that would increase the AC appropriately, and then I could do 1 more in... I'll do 1 more in con. Let's go 18 plus 4. I've got the strength already. 12 for plus 1, 18 for plus 4, 16 for plus 3, 14 for plus 2, and 14 for plus 2. I'll leave you to your Vaheg jokes over there, y'all. Let me just double check. Does that meet the criteria I have for an adept? It needs a total of plus 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11. Yep, there we are. That means my criteria for an adept. Cool. Skills, acrobatics, and perception. I'll figure out the actual values in a moment. To add on to this, we're gaining the lull ability at this point. So, animal handling. Animal handling is calming down natural animals. Let's focus on keeping a level head on things, so I think that works. That's very thematic from that side. Baruuk pacifying the animals and then using the magic on the humanoids. I don't want to listen as much. Animal handling is wisdom based, so we'll figure out that bonus in a moment because the proficiency is a plus 4. Animal handling should be a plus 6. Baruuk seems more supportive than Banshee. So far I'm focusing on Baruuk on defense. It'll end up being supportive in having a little ability, but mostly Baruuk is trying not to get hit. That's its biggest thing overall. Do not step on Baruuk or whatever, yeah. How dangerous do we think a mass sleep power will be in D&D? Pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. Now, in Warframe, lull actually takes time to kick in, so I'm going to give a double save on it. Similar to how I gave a double save on Atlas's Petrify, I'm going to give a double save on lull. Oh, just to say, lull being something like make a char save to be able to attack him. Lull being something like this if you want to see the 5e mechanic. Ooh. That is nice. However, in this case, going for a double save, going for it still sleeps, just shuts down the enemies rather than can just turn on Baruuk stuff. No, I'm going to stick with my original on that because I can hold off on the char save to even be able to hit for something like Nyx. That's where that could come in more handily as a mechanic. I'll hold on to that one, Jason. That is useful to know about. But not on this ability. So double save, Cosmo. Some abilities, usually things like Petrify, the first time it hits you, you make a saving throw. If you fail that saving throw, something bad happens, but it's not the worst it gets. Next time the effect rolls around again, so the end of your next turn or whenever it re-triggers, you then need to make the saving throw again if you failed the first time. If you succeed on that one, the effect ends, you're free, you're safe, you're past it. If you fail a second time, the effect gets worse. In the case of Petrify, you start off restrained, and like, oh shit, I can't move anymore. Things are getting difficult to do. The second fail, you just stone. That's it. You're stoned now. Deal with it. So a double save is a way of holding back all of the effects, giving the players time to react to the effects, to sack bonuses or whatnot, and to otherwise go, shit, we need to work on this now. It's telegraphing, whilst also smacking your players around, which is fun. So, let's update all these bits and pieces then. Proficiency bonus, yep. Speed, I'm going to knock this all the way up to 40 feet now. Baruuk is an adept in martial arts, delivering more powerful blows. Deals 1d8 damage. We're going to say, what if lull is an illusion effect? Their enemies are effectively dazed, aka slept. Not sure on that really, no. No, lull isn't an illusion. Yeah, daze isn't a condition in 5e, you're right. But no, lull doesn't hit me as an illusion. Lull is much more along the line of a sleep spell. No, I won't go with an illusory approach here. That doesn't really fit the Baruuk theme. I know sleep's already a spell in D&D, Gorilla, but we're coming at it from a slightly different angle. A more powerful, more distributed, more level-appropriate sleep. The sleep spell is a very weird one in how it's written. For those of you who don't know, let's bring that up real quickly here. Sleep spell in 5th edition. This spell sends creatures into magical slumber. You think, oh yeah, well, that's normal so far. Roll 5d8. The total is how many hit points of creatures this spell can affect. Creatures within points you choose in range are affected in ascending order of their current hit points, and they just fall unconscious in that range. No save, no nothing, just if your hit points are below this threshold, good night. There are very, 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 very few spells and abilities that work in this way. Exceedingly few. It ignores basically every possible defense you could have, other than either A, being a race that doesn't go to sleep like elves, in which case this does nothing, or B, having loads of hit points. Which is just odd. It doesn't scale very well, and it either does or it doesn't, out of the control of both the attacker and the defender, which is honestly very weird. It's very weird. So I'm not a huge fan of actually how that one runs. I get that it's designed to limit the sleep spell so it doesn't affect creatures very well at higher levels, but it's just weird. We don't need to worry about Baruuk not wanting to use it at higher levels, because we do want Baruuk to use Lil at high levels, so we don't need to worry about that approach. So, alright then, let's figure our way through the bits and pieces. First of all, Elude doesn't need to change, we can leave that one where it is. This has been updated, I'll update the attacks in a moment. So, Lull, I think it's spelled like that. Spell 1, again, I feel it should be an action, which means I'm going to need to give some bonus actions to Baruuk at this stage. I'll do that in just a moment. And yeah, we'll again give this one a 1 minute run to it. Or I can just not spell minute. There we go. Baruuk channels... What's the power? Yeah. No. Baruuk saps energy from those nearby. Inducing sleep in those who fail to resist. A simple entrance to what the spell's supposed to do. Will evade or lull be a concentration spell? Evade, do you mean elude? Elude, as I mentioned earlier, Raynouva, no. So elude is not going to be concentration. Lull doesn't need to be concentration because those who survive will be able to wake them up. I'll get there, Raynouva. Concentration is very much a thing you apply at least halfway through, if not at the end of creating a spell, as to a balancing factor to it. Do you want them to have this up at the same time as another thing? Well, Baruuk's not going to have much in the way it needs concentration in the first place. And secondly, do you want it to be able to be shut down by someone striking them? Is that supposed to be a reasonable counter? Again, no. Baruuk is, like all Warframes, going to be taking the place of something of a boss-type monster. Boss-type monsters get attacked a lot. So, concentration has to be carefully used. It needs to have a reason. I used it with, I think it was Mag very heavily. Because yeah, I barely used it at all with Banshee. That was on the silence bit, and that's because of just how strong the silence is, so it needed a counter. Melee counters it, or martial counters it, where magic is incapable of countering it. And then, let me see, earlier up, yeah, we didn't use it at all with Atlas. Nope, not at all with Atlas. With Ash, bonus, nope, not at all with Ash. With Volt, yeah, we got an electric shield, which is supposed to protect against a hell of a lot of damage in the first place, but that's where concentration can come in. You fail to protect, your protection gets worse. It's encouraging Volt to keep its distance. And likewise with Mag, we got Magnetize, which is on concentration there. So it is possible for allies to break that Magnetize and get out of it. Because again, it's so powerful, it's worth having a hard counter. So it's very touch and go to use concentration on spells. For players, it's pretty much the DM only wants to deal with one of these spells at a time. Stop the players from casting loads of them. Maximage, cheers. Addy wanting us to switch over to a bit of synth for a bit. Alright, cool. Let me grab that real quick. There we are. That transitioned quite nicely. That wasn't really intended. Oh, fair enough, Jason. Thank you very much on the range suggestion there. So, Lul, Baruuk saps energy from those nearby, inducing sleep. Inducing sleep in those who fail to resist. Hostile creatures within 30 feet of Baruuk must make a... I am liking the idea of a charisma save though, so I'm going to go with that. Charisma saving throw. A DC on this, well, the DC is going to be 2 plus 4, 6 plus 8, 14. On a failed saving throw, the creature becomes drowsy, reducing its speed to 0. Decorator, cheers. Reducing its speed to 0, or... Yeah, the first bit, just reducing its speed to 0. You come to a halt. Whoa. And then they have to shake through it on their... when it comes around to get back going again. If they don't shake through it, yeah, they're out. So it's definitely on the slowdown. Yeah, I'm happy with the slowdown right there. Dizzy spell? Yeah, it's a dizzy spell. You've not got a good handle on yourself. It could be argued to be more wisdom to not have your senses get corrupted like that, but you know what? Charisma saves don't get used enough anyway, so let's go with the charisma. It's not like the designers of D&D really understand where they're using those saves anyway. They split up 3 saves into 6 and didn't really have a reason to do so. So it's on them. I blame them. Charisma, convincing Baruuk you're not a threat. But this isn't charisma check, this is charisma save. I've mentioned on a previous stream, the way the saves work in D&D don't quite match up to the way that the abilities are supposed to work. Wisdom is your ability to perceive, and yet illusions target your intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to analyze and understand, and yet things which fool you into believing your allies or your enemies target wisdom. I mean, go figure. Hold person? Oh, what even is hold person target? Hold person targets wisdom. Choose new ones you can see within range. They succeed on wisdom, their ability to perceive, or they become paralyzed. What? How does your failure to be very perceptive lead to you being paralyzed by a spell? So, saves don't really make sense in Dungeons & Dragons, quite frankly. Saves are all over the place. Strength makes sense. A strength save is something is trying to shove you typically. You go, no. Dex save makes some sense, dodging attacks and whatnot. Then you think about fireballs and lightning and how you can't really dodge some things, but you... whatever. Con saves, you resist poison and whatnot. You think con save would be more stuff you can't dodge as well, but go figure. Int is usually illusions, but then there's some other stuff. Wisdom is the powerhouse of mental defenses against basically everything, apparently. And then you get charisma, which is possession and planar shifts, mostly. Yeah, I don't get it. So you noticed the shimmering lines of binding and shift just enough to not be bound? Yeah, go figure, really, honestly. Go figure. So I'm just going to go with charisma. It's not used enough. Let's use charisma. This is the murder hobos get fucked spell. Sorry, you want to come at me? You raging barbarians? Nope, we're not dealing with it. Stop where you are, go to sleep. If you've got a good reason to attack Baruuk, if you've got good charisma, you can convince Baruuk that you are in the right to attack him, then lull fails. It's like, oh damn, that's actually a good reason for you to hit me with your stick. Come right at me. Yeah, that's it all makes no sense. Meanwhile, Warlock is laughing. Well, I mean, this is definitely a different approach to building. So if a Warlock wants to come through and smack up the monk, sure, why not? Why not? The go-away spells like Banishment work on char saves? Yeah. It's just... Overall, I feel that the 3-save system they had up to 4th edition was just better, frankly. You had, what was it, Fortitude, Reflex, and Will. Your willpower was your willpower, your reflexes were your reflex, and the strong stuff was your fortitude. Ta-da! It was easy. Your fortitude was your strength or your con, the highest of the two. Your reflex was your dex or your int, the highest of the two. Your will was your whiz or your char, the highest of the two. Easy! It just worked. I don't understand why they had to change it. Oh, it's simpler this way. No, it's not bloody simpler. Now there's 6 numbers rather than 3. There's nothing simpler about that whatsoever. Am I saying 4th edition did something right? I'm saying 4th edition did a hell of a lot right, mate. So many people had shit on 4th edition. And then it's damaged 5th edition, in my opinion. It really has. Everything from Warlocks being charisma-based. I'm sorry, if you read the description of Warlocks in the player's handbook, you go through that and tell me that they're supposed to be charisma-based. They just threw it to charisma because they tried intelligence in the playtest of developing 5th edition, and the grognards who were doing the playtest went, no, Warlock's always supposed to be charisma. And so they made it charisma. In every game I run, Warlocks can choose if they want to be charisma or intelligence based. It's fine because it doesn't break the game, but it makes a hell of a lot more sense. And don't come at me with the whole, oh, but negotiating a contract. That's not how Warlocks are described. God damn it, no. My point is, 4th edition did a lot right. And a lot was thrown out in 5th edition to try and appease to 3.5 and earlier crowd. Bards are charisma. What? I gotta play. What? What? Yeah, 4th edition. That's it. 4th edition also had skill challenges. That was not brought over to 5th edition whatsoever in any of the initial core books. I don't know if it's in later ones, but not in the initial ones. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Because skill challenges are great. They started off a bit kind of skewy in 4th edition when they refine them. They're a brilliant tool. People still use them to this day because they're a great way of making things more than just one check and allowing your players to have more agency in things, allowing the story to kind of exist alongside the checks, not either just start or end of it. What is a skill challenge? So, to give you an idea of a basic skill challenge, your players are attempting to locate a temple that is supposed to be hidden somewhere in this jungle, okay? Rather than going, okay, Mr. Ranger, whoever wants to roll it, roll survival, oh look at that, you got a high number, you find the temple. That's boring as sin. No one likes that. A skill challenge breaks this up. Skill challenge says you need to get a given number of passes before you get 3 failures. You can use any skill you want, but once you have used a skill, you cannot use that same skill again in the same skill challenge. And the DM will keep track of passes and failures to go with that. The DM may either use 3 failures is just you get the bad outcome, or they may even grade it so that 1 failure you get a slightly awkward outcome, 2 failures poor outcome, 3 failures worst outcome, whatever they want to work on. And it spreads it out, so the players have to look at different skills. So the ranger obviously says, well, I'm going to help navigate through the jungle. It's like, okay, well, you're going to be navigating through the jungle, you're using your survival. Survival is now ticked off as being used here. Pass or fail, we move on from that one. And it's like, well, okay, the wizard has gone into the libraries looking for information that could help them identify where they're trying to look in the jungle. Okay, so before they're setting off, they're going to be doing that. The wizard uses history. Bam, there's another skill check. The bard actually decides to ask around, get the local knowledge. They use their persuasion, ask around local knowledge. It would have been streetwise in 4th edition, but there you are. There's another check, and that builds up your skill challenge. Do they get there in reasonable well health, in good time, or do things go wrong? The skill challenge encapsulates that into more than just one check, and it's a great thing. It's a great thing. Like I'm playing, say, if Wizard goes and looks into library, failure, oops, the book is now trying to eat his face. I mean, you could go that way. Alternatively, the Wizard gets poor information, it's out of date, or they translate it wrong. You can look at it from that direction, but rather than being a single point of failure, it builds toward the greater check. So say if they end up with 2 failures, but then they get all their passes, they do get to the temple, but maybe they're delayed, they take a slightly wrong route, and so they end up with a encounter they didn't want to have with some grasping vines in the jungle. That kind of thing. So the skills they use make the encounters more positive. And yeah, Blanco, it gives everyone a reason to contribute because everyone can put something into it. Even down to the point that if I say, well, getting through the jungle, it's going to make this a lot easier if we can navigate a bit. I'm going to climb up the trees and do some scouting, get a good idea as to where we are every now and then to help out the ranger. Well, climbing up those jungle trees, getting up and down all that time, that's going to be exhausting. Let's see some athletics. Boom. Everyone can partake, and the more you think about trying to partake, the more you try to work your skills in, the more the DM should reward it. Skill challenges are amazing, and they were thrown out, they just weren't considered because they had the cloud of 4th edition over them. They were a 4th edition introduction, and so your purists of D&D at the time were like, no, 4th edition isn't D&D, it's just a combat sim. Like, have you played Dungeons & Dragons? It's a combat sim. Yeah, a lot of good stuff was thrown away. The rituals in 4th edition were honestly a good design. It needed fleshing out, it needed to be done better. It was a little bit too video gamey, I will agree on that, but they were a great system in giving everyone access, if they wanted to a way of doing magical stuff. Rather than 5th edition, which went, the rituals are actually just spells, but you take 10 minutes. Rituals were their own thing. Why are they now just a thing that a couple classes can do? That wasn't 4th edition. Anyone could get into rituals and really bolster up their stuff, but it costs money and a lot of time to do rituals, not just a spell without a spell slot. It was a lot better. So yeah. Funny story, Dungeons & Dragons literally at its core is a tabletop combat sim. It is, yeah. Straight up. You flick through the rulebook, most of it is rules on how to cast spells and how to fight. That's what the majority of the rulebook is. What is my opinion on the use of D&D Beyond? That is exceedingly broad, Jonesy boy. I don't know where I'd even begin with that one. That's a bit like asking what's my opinion on tabletop gaming, or what is my opinion on the use of PayPal to pay for things. I don't know where to begin on that one. That is exceedingly broad. I know, Blanca. I know that's where Dungeons & Dragons came from. It came from Combat Sim. I know. It came from tabletop war sims, but then into an RPG setting of playing it through a story-based campaign. But yeah. Jackson says, in my experience, any game that has a mechanic analogous to a base attack bonus is a combat sim. No, it's more about how much focus and structure is given in the rules for things. The ability to attack doesn't mean that is it. But when you look at Dungeons & Dragons, all of the classes are pretty much designed around how good are you at attacking. Oh, and what else can you do? The fight is, I'm good at attacking. I suppose I can also, you know, attack twice and maybe lead a small army if we care about that. Barbarian is like, I attack loads, and I can attack really strongly. I suppose I also have a connection to my ancestors. Paladin is like, yeah, I've got this really strong opinion on who to attack and smite. I guess I have some morals and stuff. Cleric is like, yeah. I do more than attack, because what I do is I heal the people who are attacking, so I attack by making sure people can attack for me. Also God. Bards, same again. Yeah, I'm all about music and stuff. You know, I do performances and whatnot, like my Vicious Mockery spell to deal damage. And I will buff you so you can do more damage, and I will buff you so you get hurt less, so you can still deal damage without taking damage. And wait, where's all this stuff about how Bard does their performances? Yeah. The more you look at it, D&D is designed, it's not on a 3-pillar system. They advertise the idea of the combat pillar, the exploration pillar, and the social pillar. No, that's a lie. That is straight up a lie. They give rules that they call the exploration rules, but they're actually survival rules, which basically say, do you die during the night? Gross oversimplification, but it's roll table after roll table after roll table of what's the weather condition, do you get lost or not, do you eat enough food and drink, do you have to roll for exhaustion. That's not exploration, that's survival. Exploration is finding things, and for that you've actually just got modules. Modules are exploration. They give you things to discover, things to do. D&D as a core doesn't do that. And social pillar, the social pillar does tend to be ignored. The social pillar mostly comes down to a single table in the DMG. In fact, I can get you that table right now. I know we're going on a massive tangent, but we're good for time. Let me just grab this real quickly from the book here. If I can remember the page, it's 200 something, I'm sure. It's after the magic items, but it's before the damage by severity. Here it is. There we are. I found the page. This is the section called Social Interaction. It starts off, during a social interaction, the adventurers usually have a goal. They want to extract information, secure aid, yada yada yada. Resolving interactions, it has subheadings. Starting attitude, decide, is the creature they're interacting with friendly, indifferent or hostile? And spends a paragraph talking about how to describe each of those, really. That's basically what it comes down to. It then says subsection 2, conversation. Talks about changing attitudes and determining characteristics, basically saying, hey, the person you're talking to, they're a person. They have wants and needs. Remember that. That's pretty much all it says. Then it gets to 3, charisma check. This tells you how much Dungeons & Dragons does not have a social pillar, because of the 3 things it has here for resolving an interaction, it has starting attitude, conversation, charisma check. That's the title of the stage. When the adventurers get to the point of their request, demand or suggestion, or if you decide the conversation has run its course, call for a charisma check. A single 20-sided die. Call for a charisma check. Any character who has actively participated in the conversation can make the check. Just one. Depending on how the adventurers handled the conversation, the persuasion, deception, or intimidation skill might apply to the check. The creature's current attitude determines the DC required to achieve the specific reaction, as shown in the conversation reaction table. And that table, by the way, let me just grab my screen properly so I know exactly how I'm showing this to y'all. Here we go. So that table is right there. Okay? That is the entire table, and that table has conversation reactions for friendly creatures, indifferent creatures, and hostile creatures. For example, if you roll a 10, it's for friendly creatures, it says the creature accepts a minor risk or sacrifice to do as asked. That's it. You have your conversation, you play it out however you play it. It reminds you, it spends half of this column reminding you that creatures have characteristics, determine them and follow them. And then that's it. You make a charisma check. It suggests multiple checks, as this is 3 lines under multiple checks. It says certain situations might call for more than one check, particularly if the adventurers come into the interaction with multiple goals. And that's it. That's what they have about multiple checks. That's what they have about a more complicated social encounter. You might want more than one check, especially if they might have multiple goals. That's social interaction. It then goes on to talking about role-playing, being the NPC, using your voice, using your face and arms, like I'm doing here, engaging the players, targeting specific characters. That's all just theatrics, actually. It literally just talks about the theatrics. And then it goes on to talk about objects and damage. That's the entire section on social interaction. It is a double-page spread, most of which... Oh no, 3 pages. Most of which is spent talking about either is a character happy or sad with you, and be energetic. Ken is an NPC? No, Ken is a DM, Snake Raider. Because it's the DM that'll be doing this. The NPC doesn't exist. There is no social interaction pillar in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, or rather, it is very, very limited. There is a section I skipped over here, or rather a part of the section in the determine characteristics. Capture this. Okay? Capture this. After interacting with a creature long enough to get a sense of its personality traits and characteristics through conversation, an adventurer can attempt a wisdom insight check to uncover one of the creature's characteristics. You set the DC. A check that fails by 10 or more might misidentify a characteristic, so you should provide a false characteristic or invert one of the creature's existing characteristics. For example, an old sage's flaw is that he is prejudiced against the uneducated, so an adventurer who badly fails a check might be told that the sage enjoys personally seeing to the education of the downtrodden. That's what it says. That's what it says on the whole identifying characteristics. After spending long enough to get a sense of its personality traits and characteristics, no information given on that, just long enough, the player can make a wisdom insight check against a DC that you set. It gives you no suggestion on this, no information. It literally has the 4-word sentence, you set the DC. And that's it. That's it. That is the social interaction section of this book. The Dungeon Master's Guide. That's it. You can check that out for yourself. What was the page number on that? I've just closed that, but what is the page number? For those of you who have this guide, let me just grab that page. If you wanted to look at that and see, am I missing anything here? Did Ken just skip over this to make a point? Because he didn't really show us the whole book. Is Ken holding anything back here? No, I'm not. But if you want to have a look at this, page 244 to 246 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Go have a look. And those of you who don't have the books, well, you can just take my word for it, because I literally just read it out word for word and gave you the page reference, so you know. What's the likelihood I'm pulling your leg? Trek is saying, based on the sheet on the right, can a Warframe monster evolve? No. Not really. A Warframe monster is meant to be at a given level when you encounter it at a given level. If the DM wants to have it where a Warframe is stronger when the players encounter it later, as if it's leveled up, then yeah, they can do. But it's not designed to just kind of, you press button, it evolves Pokemon style. Now, the Warframes, I designed them at 4 tiers so that every campaign can use them. Because say, if I made Baruuk at level 5, and you're running a group of level 10s, you look at the level 5 and you go, what's that? That's why there's multiple tiers. But yeah. The 5th edition really does leave a lot to be desired. The rules for social encounters suck. The rules for exploration are actually rules for survival. Exploration is actually to do with, you know, having things to find and explore. That is a campaign. If you were to be given a supplement that filled out all of the hidden and interesting things in a jungle, you explore by going through the jungle and finding these fun and hidden things. That's a campaign. You can't advertise an exploration pillar when exploration is a campaign. So all that it really has is a load of combat rules, some magic item rules, which are a bit wishy-washy, basically no crafting rules, as opposed to Pathfinder, which has very robust crafting rules, and stealth rules are again very much kind of wibbly wobbly DM says. If the DM says you have cover, the DM determines if you can be seen. The DM understands and applies the scenarios to explain if you are in a position to be able to hide behind anything. It's not great. It's not great. Yeah. 5e is a wonderful game if you ignore all the bits that are wrong with it. And I'll be honest, with their later supplements, they've actually gotten worse with it. They've gotten worse in passing things over to the DM. I haven't purchased a 5e book in a very, very long time. Because at the end of the day, you buy rules, you buy books with the rules and the information to run a game. Not with the rules and information on how to go find the rules and information to run your own game. That's why I say it. Yo, from Jason, say, heck engineer, first time here, I wanted to say thank you for your YouTube video about the Incarnate weapons, made my choice easier. My dude, I'm glad it helped you out on that there. Huh. Welcome to the channel. Let's continue designing Baruuk, shall we? I've gotten very distracted from that, but for very good reason. I was in the middle of the lull spells. On a failed saving throw, the creature becomes drowsy, reducing its speed to 0. At the end of the... No. At the start of... At the end of Baruuk's next turn, all creatures currently affected by the spell must repeat the charisma saving throw. On a success, the spell effect ends. On a failure, the creature falls unconscious for the duration. A creature, an awake creature, may spend an action to physically shake an unconscious creature awake. I think that covers it. Yeah? Baruuk saps energy from those nearby, inducing sleep in those who fail to resist. Oh, this is getting long. Oh no. Oh, it's going off the end. Alright, it needs its own page. It needs its own page. Whatever. That happens. Oh, good luck, Rainover. Good luck. Baruuk saps energy from those nearby, induces sleep in those who fail to resist. Hostile creatures within 30 feet of Baruuk must make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the creature becomes drowsy, reducing its speed to 0. At the end of Baruuk's next turn, all creatures currently affected by the spell must repeat the saving throw. On a success, the spell effect ends. On a failure, the creature falls unconscious for the duration. An awake creature may spend an action to physically shake an unconscious creature awake. Reminds you of Hypnotic Pattern? It's probably very close to, actually. Hypnotic Pattern. Have I accidentally just created Hypnotic Pattern? Great. Twisting pattern of colours, 30-foot cube within range. Pattern appears from a moment vanishes. A creature from the area sees pattern must make a whiz save. Become charmed. While charmed creature is incapacitated as a speed of 0. Spell ends for an affected creature if they take damage, or if someone else uses an action to shake the creature out of its stupor. That is very, very similar, yes. Hypnotic Pattern has a greater cast distance, because Lull is from Baruuk. However, the targeting range is 30-foot cube, so it's a cube with 30 feet on a side, whereas this is a sphere of 30-foot radius. That's going to be a wider area. This one's concentration up to a minute, whereas my one is not concentration. My one, however, has a double save to get to the negative, whereas this one is a single save straight away. Okay, yeah. It's close, but no cigar. They are different enough. It's an apple to an orange. They're still fruit. They're still nice to eat, but they are different fruit. But that does, however, give me a very good point for the level of the spell, which is it's a 3rd level spell. Because they are exceedingly similar. There we are then. I mean, that tells me it's in a good place. I haven't gone for the take damage wakes up. And you know what? I'm kind of fine with that. I'm kind of fine with that. That allows Baruuk to still attack someone who is not awake, and they don't get to just wake up from that. Someone else needs to get involved to wake them up. Because this still has no effect on elves, for example. This one has an effect on elves, I think. Elf 5e. Goes Fey Ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. So yeah, this would be charmed. So they would have advantage here as an elf. This one they wouldn't have advantage, but they do get 2 saves instead. And this one, it's putting them to sleep. They fall unconscious. That's putting them to sleep. So Fey Ancestry would just straight block that. You know what? I've got enough space. I'm going to call that out specifically. Creatures with the Fey Ancestry trait or otherwise are immune to magical sleep cannot be affected by this spell. Bam! There we are. Because again, make your life easier as a DM. Calling this out to the DM straight away. Hey, have you got a player that's got the Fey Ancestry trait? You know, those elves over there on the left side of the table? Yeah, this spell doesn't affect them. None of the discussion about, oh, but what about the reducing to 0 speed? No. This spell does not affect the elves. They're fine. The elves, the half-elves, anything else that comes from that kind of region. They're Gucci. I think that calls it out quite nicely. Alright then, so in terms of damage stats now, we're trying to get to around probably about 40 damage per round. That's going to be interesting. Proofreading, it has to be creatures who have the trait. Sorry? Creatures with the Fey Ancestry trait cannot be affected by the spell. Creatures who are otherwise immune to the magical sleep cannot be affected by the spell. What? What am I getting wrong then? Creatures immune to magical sleep are unaffected by the spell. So the reason I'm calling out Fey Ancestry is more of a DM's reminder, I'll be honest. I'll be saying proofreading, it's creatures who have the trait. Creatures with the Fey Ancestry trait or creatures who have the... Nah. I think both are grammatically perfectly fine. I would say both are grammatically just fine. Creatures with this trait. Creatures that have this trait. That might be a regional thing more than anything. It feels grammatically fine to me. But at the same time, it might not be over in the States. Or it might not be in a different branch of English that's taught. It seems grammatically fine to me. I think those two ways are synonymous. Worth checking all the same. The main thing is here, I'm calling out Fey Ancestry for the sake of the DM to remind them, hello, elves, that means them, or otherwise immune to magical sleep. Immune to magical sleep, if you know the Fey Ancestry trait, when this comes up, you go, oh yeah, that's the elves. But we got to remember, not all DMs are as good as you and me. A lot of DMs will forget that their elves have these traits, just like a lot of players will forget that their attack bonus is that +6 that is written right there in the middle of the sheet. It has been written there since 2 months ago. Oh my god, John, will you please learn to just roll the dice? Yeah, we all know someone like that. So this is for the DM who is tired of dealing with that bullshit and just needs a quick reminder. Alright, yeah, the elves. I've got the space to work with, so why not? Saying, it's more leads into the second half of the sentence. Creatures who have the Fey ancestry trait or are otherwise immune. I'm still seeing it both ways. Creatures with the Fey ancestry trait or otherwise are immune to the magical sleep. I mean, I could put or are otherwise immune to magical sleep, but it's basically the same thing. It's the same either which way, so I'm just going to leave that now. Yeah. It's the damage test we need to figure out. This is where it's going to be tough. I've already agreed that this is a D8. And this should be a 4, so that gives us an 8 per hit. Whereas this is still a D6, it'll be a D6 plus 4. So this will be a 7 per hit. This is too early for legendary actions. Challenge rating 10 does not get legendary actions. And these pluses for hits need to go up. I said I was going to introduce bonus actions for Rook. So that's where I can get the rest of the damage in. So bonus actions. Quick strike. Baruuk makes an attack with its fists or short bow. And then if I leave the multi-attack as 3 attack with its fist, let's see, so we're getting 4 attacks with fists on a typical turn, 8, 16, 32. That's still short, isn't it? Why do I have a notification? Wagwan. Alright, random. Yeah, no, that's still low. Ooh, that's very low. That's challenge 60. I mean, it's within acceptable limits, but that's still very low. Bonus dash? Oh, now that's interesting. That's an interesting idea there, Runova. Bonus action dash. Yeah. Let's add that to the list. Swift speed. Baruuk takes the dash action. Yeah, I know this doesn't fit the Warframe Baruuk, but honestly, there's a reason monks are built this way in D&D. So I like that, especially as it balances with the fact that I'm giving them a bonus action attack. That is, that's now a trade-off. Do they attack or do they sprint? Especially as both of these spells, Elude and Lull, are using an action. If it's a dodge roll? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, if it's a dodge roll. Without being a dodge, because we got enough of that elsewhere. This is very much a hybrid of a monk in D&D and Baruuk in Warframe. And you know what? I like how that's coming together. I do like how it's coming together. It's just the damage stats are holding me back a bit here. So I'm thinking multi-attack. I might want to bring this up. Yeah, I'm going to bring this up to 4 attacks. Baruuk makes 4 attacks with its fists. Or 2 attacks with its short bow. In fact, that fist, shouldn't that be capitalized? That should be capitalized. Redbeard ties saying, could I suggest Zephyr Strike as a possible bonus action spell? Nope. Absolutely not, because Zephyr Strike is not a spell that Baruuk has, right? Baruuk has Elude, Lull, Desolate Hands, and is it called Desert Wind? think it's called Desert Wind, or is that the weapon or stance? But either way, Baruuk has 4 abilities in Warframe. All of the Warframes have only been using their 4 abilities. Desert Storm, Desert Storm, yeah, Desert Wind is the stance or weapon. Serene Storm. Serene Storm, not Desert Storm. Oh, God's sake, yeah. Baruuk is full of all this stupid naming stuff. God damn it. Give me the interesting frames. Desert Storm was a war? Oh, well, fair enough. And Sarin was a gas. There we are. But yeah, I'm going strictly on the abilities, Redbeard. So, like, to compare with, say, Banshee. Let's go Banshee Prime here. Banshee has Soundless Form from the passive, Sonic Boom, Sonar, Silence, Soundquake. Boom. Or Sonic Boom, I should say. that is Banshee Prime in a nutshell there. And the same is going to be true for Baruuk all the way through. Yeah, I think this balances out. We've got 4 attacks with the fist or 2 with the short bow, so the range attack is still weak. From range attacks, Baruuk can get out a max 21 damage in a round, which is terrible for Challenge 10. For melee, they can get out 40 damage in a round, which is much more on point. However, that's assuming they are using their attacks every single time. They've got Elude and Lull, which are going to give them more turns to work with, but their damage output per round is on average low. That's the idea here. But being a multi-attack, Baruuk can keep it going. Much like most martials, Baruuk's power stays up as they fight. You don't take Baruuk down, punch, 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 punch. Next turn, punch, 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 punch. Next turn, punch, 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 punch. Which also ties into the Elude spell, where anyone that Baruuk is punching doesn't have disadvantage to attacks. Yeah, I think this is all actually kind of balancing out. This is all balancing out. Redbeard side saying this hella cool. Oh my god. Are you going to publish the whole thing when it's done or in pieces? So the record of this, the document, is available on my Discord already. Everything up to but before Baruuk. So we've got Excalibur, Volt, Mag, Ash, Atlas, and Banshee. All 6 of those are currently available on my Discord. It is not for general release at this point in time. So if you do pick it up there, by all means, have a look through. Try it out in your group if you have a D&D group running at the moment. Give me the feedback. I want to know how that works, because if I can refine these, all the better. But it's not for general release at this point in time, so don't be sharing it far and wide. Don't be popping it onto Reddit. It's too early for that. Definitely too early for that. Renee saying, seeing as Baruuk used Sword and Shield preferred weapon in Warframe, will I give Baruuk a buckler for a bonus brace or bonus deflect action? No. Bucklers for a deflect action isn't a thing in 5th edition. Not sure which edition or which game you're picking that one up from, but it's not a 5th edition thing. Again, it's a very simplified game in that sense. They kept all the complicated math and took out all of the complicated choices. It was really weird. We still have 6 ability scores, we still have a list of skills, and then tool proficiencies that no one ever seems to have a purpose for. But we don't have the interesting action choices. It's honestly boggling, the design direction that 5th edition took. The fact that it has secured such a place in tabletop gaming is genuinely impressive. I mean, kudos to them. They've done good for us, but what? We lost little things like that. But anyway, yeah. I'm already giving Baruuk some actions here. I don't want to be giving Baruuk too many opportunities, because Baruuk already has them in Elude, Lull, and is about to have them in Death's Hands in the next tier as well. Those are supposed to be Baruuk's options. That's where it goes. But yeah, I think we should be on the right lines here. Should be on the right lines. Let's see where it goes. Page. Let's turn this now into... I haven't done the hit points. What's the hit points? So 150 divided by a con is 3, so 8.5. No. 7.5. It's 4.5 plus 3, yep. It's 20. Oh, that's a nice easy number. I should have been able to have done that in my head, but there we are. Cool, now the hit points are done. Yeah. Alright then, let's give ourselves a Baruuk Master. This is where we can start getting interesting with things. Did I say living weapon? Redbeard. I've actually been looking to build a Tenno as a player character in a way. So like Circle of Forge Druid plus living weapon monk. Neat. Yeah. Give it a whirl. Crucially, I've been designing all of these as monsters rather than as player characters. So I mentioned in other streams before now. Because running a Warframe as a player character, trying to make them as Warframey as possible, player characters have so many more options than Warframes do, it kind of becomes a weird mishmash, and balancing that is just an absolute no-go. So instead, as monsters, we can go full hog on the individual abilities. They don't need to be directly balanced to any given level, they're just balanced within themselves as a monster. And at the same time then, because we're making them so damn powerful, we can also build in weaknesses that players wouldn't want to have, but players love to exploit. There's our win. Oh wow, Tom, that is ain't that something? Former DM of yours. Great, something someone else is using here. That's lovely. That is lovely to see. Small world as well, eh? Alright, Baruuk Master. So, I'm going to aim for challenge rating 15, which according to our cheat sheet here, we're looking for AC 18, 225 hit points. Let's do that. AC 18, hit points 225 is the aim. 125, 225. There we go. Stats-wise, I need +5 across the board, which is going to work out just perfectly for this. Oh, there we go. Look at that, we make this a 20 in the dex, that's a +5, we make a con, a +4, we make the int, a +3, and we make the whiz a +3. There we go. 3 and 5 comes to 8, 18. The armor class works! I don't have to do anything. It just works. Speed up to 45 feet. We've still got the dash to make it even more scary, so that's fine to sit there. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I didn't put in a saving throw on the adept. Well, that's obviously going to be dex, isn't it? Do saving throws go before skills or after skills? Before skills. Saving throws. Dex, which is on this one a +8. There we are. Okay, cool. So, over here, saving throws. I'm thinking Dex and Whiz. For a monk. It's obviously going to be Dex and Whiz. Challenge rating 15, I said, was the aim. What is challenge 15 stats? So, 5, 9, 13. Yeah, it'll be +5, won't it? So Dex will be a +10, and Whiz will be a +8. Cool. I'll leave you guys on the discussion-y bits there. So, skills, let's update these. Acrobatics +10, animal handling is a +8, perception is a +8. What skill do we add to Baruuk at this point? We're getting Desolate Hands, which is very much a disarming thing, so I'm thinking Sleight of Hand. The whole pilfering stuff definitely feels like a Sleight of Hand thing, so why not? Hello, Grumpy Pants. You may have missed half of it, but you're still going to catch the other half. You're fine, my dude. You're fine. The XP at this is 13k. And the bullet jump, that is going to... Oh, I didn't improve the bullet jump last time, did I? Whoops. Knew there's going to be something I forgot. 8 for vertical and 24 for horizontal, which is now even higher on this one. 10 foot vertical and a 28 foot horizontal. There we are. Lovely jubbly. Yeah, that's looking good so far. Unarmed strike, we want that to increase to 1d10 at this tier. Baruuk is a master. Don't need to capitalize that. Master of martial arts. Bam. I would say, honestly, I feel like the Warframes as monsters have been generated by an aberration, Pacific Rim. I've never seen the film. Assuming a source and assimilating it. I've gone for monstrosities as a creation. They were literally created. But they're not constructs because they are not autonomous machines. They were created by horrifying processes on previously living things. Turns into literal monstrosities. Yeah, it all works out. Innate spellcasting, the DC on the int is now 16. There we are. To upgrade this DC to 16 there. There we go. Don't need to make any changes to the rest of the lull. We can keep the range the same. We can keep pretty much everything the same there for now. What do I increase its range? Higher tier. Let's increase its range. 45 feet. Make it a harsher spell. That'll be a 5th level spell. High range, higher effect. We're going to add in then the Desolate Hands ability. Spell. Again, I'm going to go with one action. I think that's going to be the big limiting factor here on Baruuk, is the actions. If I make every spell one action, Baruuk really can't go too crazy too quick, can they? They have to choose. Cast a spell or throw hands. Alright, Redbeard, with regards to the VODs, well, there you are, my dude. You can check them out on the replays channel. I don't let Twitch get rid of my stuff after 2 weeks and that's it, it's gone. They all go over there. So if you want to catch up on past streams, you want to catch up on the past D&D ones, and all the Warframe ones as well, and any other game we do on previous Fridays, they're up there. Unless some technical difficulties happen, that's where they end up. Enjoy. Alright, Desolate Hands spell, one action. You know what, I'm sticking with the 1 minute approach until I figure out something else to do with this one. I think 1 minute is going to do just fine. So Desolate Hands is a damage reduction and disarming ability. I'm thinking what I can do is just go for attempts at disarming and damage reduction all in one go. Rather than piecemealing it and giving the DM something more to really track, you just give them damage resistance and otherwise attempt to disarm everything that's close at the moment of casting. How does that sound, chat? Really dumbing down Desolate Hands, but dumbing it down for a tabletop game rather than a video game which can track 18 daggers being flung around. How does that sound? Watch 4 VODs a day? You can watch more than 4 VODs a day. VODs are about 3 hours long. You can technically get through as many as 8 of them if you skip the intros and outros and whatnot. Obviously, that'd be 24 hours no sleep, but technically. Hell, watch them on 2 times speed. Nice. Rocking. So yeah, Desolate Hands. I'm going to go with this idea. Baruuk conjures ethereal daggers to surround and protect itself. Ken TV, 24 hours a day. I think that sounds terrible for everyone involved, including me. Let's never do that. Just never. Baruuk conjures ethereal daggers to surround and protect itself. All creatures hostile to Baruuk within 30 feet must make a dexterity saving throw. DC 16. On a failed saving throw, an ethereal dagger strikes the creature, disarming it of its weapon. Now, just knocking the weapon to the side, the creature can just pick it up again, so that's not really that interesting, right? Maybe I should make this a tracking one, like, you can whittle it down? Maybe I should, Summon a number of daggers, 10 daggers, every time you attack, it gets whittled down and down and down until there's none left. That might be more befitting. Now I think about it, that might be more befitting. You make an attack, you need to make a save. If you fail, but and that's how it works in games. That's what I'm thinking of, like, we can work it more towards that. It's just I don't want to give too much for the DM to track and have to do. I don't want too many dice rolls going on from random things, but for a boss style encounter it's not so bad. If I give them 12 daggers, you can track it on a d12. That's not a problem. You just spin down the die from 12 down to 1 as they use them. That's not the worst to track. That's not the worst to track at all. No, no, no. Baruuk conjures 12 ethereal daggers to surround and protect itself. Don't need to do the save there. Instead, when a creature within 30 feet of Baruuk attempts to make an attack against Baruuk, it must first make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed saving throw, an ethereal dagger strikes the creature, disarming it of its weapon. One of his bonus actions could be to target a creature with a dagger, but you can't target with Desolate Hands normally anyway. No, I'll pass on that one, Jason, because we use daggers simply for just the disarming purposes, and whilst it's up the damage mitigation. On a failed saving throw, the ethereal dagger strikes the creature, disarming it of its weapon. Knocking it away 10 feet in a random direction. There's a powerful loot to double the range of Desolate Hands. Oh, we're skipping that. Synergies for stats, we can straight up skip in any kind of D&D creature here. The DM is still only one person. They're not a computer. Those numbers do not need to be variables. Spell 1 action. Baruuk conjures 12 ethereal daggers to surround and protect itself. When a creature within 30 feet of Baruuk attempts to make an attack against Baruuk, it must first make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed such, dagger strikes the creature, disarming it of its weapon, knocking the weapon away 10 feet in a random direction. Whether or not the dagger is successful, it then vanishes. While Baruuk has 6 or more daggers surrounding itself, it has resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So there I'm building in the idea that Baruuk's resistance, but as the daggers work down, that resistance does fade. So at half point, the damage resistance is gone, but they've still got some daggers left. So the players aren't having to work all the way through that. And this means I can do away with the duration on this as well. Baruuk just has it up and running. Hello, Rainu, you're on a break now? Nice. And this I could scale to 20 daggers and 10 daggers when we get to the Prime. You're going to say damage reduction 2/dash interactive dagger? That sounds like something out of a different system. 4th edition had damage reductions in it. I'm sure 3.5 and 3 probably did as well. But yeah, no, 5th edition just doesn't have that. 5th edition has, you have resistance, you have immunity, and in very, 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 very slim cases, you have flat reductions, but those are very rare. Like Heavy Armor Master Feat is one of them. But, anyone curious about that one there? Heavy Armor Master. While you're wearing heavy armor, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage that you take from non-magical attacks is reduced by 3. And that is one of the exceedingly few instances of something like that existing in 5th edition. Guru saying, questionable information, would that include magical sources of piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning? Yes. Because I don't specify magical or non-magical, it does include the magical. It only doesn't affect magical stuff if it specifies resistance to non-magical. Basically, what does the rule say? Does the rule say not the magical stuff? Nope. Okay, then get fucked. And the idea is it's a magical ability. Magical daggers, so magical resistance. That works for me. It still only blocks from attacks. Baruuk is very much the anti-melee in all of this. Casters are having a field day against Baruuk. Except for that amazing 10 deck save. You know, that one is definitely going to make a few casters upset. But they still do half damage. Probably. Baruuk is going to be an interesting one to fight. Pretty much the polar opposite of Banshee, despite them both fitting very defensive/supporting roles. Baruuk is supporting himself, Banshee is supporting more of the team. Banshee is easy for most things to hit, but once Banshee puts up silence, casters cry. Baruuk is very difficult to hit, but casters go, ha, deal with it. Baruuk plus Banshee would be a terror. The two of them together, if they're holding hands, casters can't get in a word in edgewise, and let's see, your what do you call them? Your marshals, they just can't touch Baruuk, but they can still hit Banshee. Baruuk is not protecting others in the team at this stage. Which might be something we can do actually with Desolate Hands. Do I make it where Desolate Hands will target any enemy within range that makes an attack, or just attack against Baruuk? What do we think, chat? Should Desolate Hands protect Baruuk's allies, or just Baruuk himself? What would be more balanced there? In-game daggers can transfer to allies, provide them damage resistance. I might do that actually, yeah. Hello Izzy, how you doing? Protecting the allies, prime only for allies. Ooh, prime only for something like that. Now, prime, I wanted to do a jump up in numbers. I don't really want to change the ability entirely, which that is a huge change in what the ability is supposed to do on the prime upgrade. So I would make it an either or Rainouver. Warframe's a bit too broke to put into D&D. You'll find you are very wrong on that, Silverstrom, because D&D has dragons and demons and basically Cthulhu wannabes. It has the Beholder. It has all kinds of crazy stuff in it already. Warframes aren't too broke to be put into D&D. Warframes are too broken to be added as player characters cleanly, because Warframes are designed to be crazy powerful things with just 4 abilities, and that's not what player characters have. New for most campaigns? No. Look, okay. You think that a Warframe can't be added to D&D, even in most campaigns, Silverstrom. So, pick a number between 1 and 7. Right now, well, no, 1 and 6. Silverstrom, 1 and 6. Number between 1 and 6, right now, go ahead. Any number between 1 and 6, Silverstrom, and just you. If anyone else posts a number in chat, I'll time you out. Three. Excellent. Alright, so we're going to our third Warframe, which is Vault. So, starting with the basics of Vault. We have Vault Initiate here. They have a bullet jump. They could jump a whopping 8 feet vertical. So scary. They have a 35-foot movement speed. So scary. They have +4 to Arcana. So scary. Static Charge. They can deal additional damage having moved. For every 5 feet, they gain 1 extra damage on its next attack. To a maximum of 10, but it can't even get 10 feet in a single turn normally. It has the Shock spell. Vault hurls electric orb creatures or surface within 120 feet. DC 12, deals 16 damage, speed is reduced to 0. On a successful save, it's half damage, speed unaffected. And then it's got a quarterstaff and a short bow, which it can make 2 attacks with if it didn't use this action here. And that's it, that's Vault Initiate. Challenge rating 3. Zappy Boy, 45 hit points, 13 armor class. Doesn't sound too bad. Exactly. Now as you scale it up, Vault Adept challenge rating 8 has both shock and speed. And then at challenge 13 it has shock and speed and electric shield. And then at the prime we have the shock and the speed and the electric shield and the discharge ability. On top of gaining at this point legendary actions as well. Legendary actions of Vault casts speed and goes fast, or Vault uses its longbow once. Think of all the visibility some Warframe would be put in? I did with the Prime. By that point they are challenge rating 18. This is something where a group of level, say 15 or 14 player characters would have to work together to take him down. That's the whole point. A Warframe in its prime is absolutely devastating. But these then, level 14, 15, 16 level player characters, they're the ones that are travelling the planes. And I don't mean they're going down to the local airport. They're the ones that are starting to go toe-to-toe with demigods. They're the ones that say, you know what? This whole kingdom needs to be saved and we're the fuckers are going to do it. Because a Vault Prime is bearing down and the king is a little bit freaking scared of that. Vault Prime is a threat. And D&D has levels where players can challenge those threats. Most campaigns only get to 14 and end. Actually, most campaigns don't even get to 14, yeah. Most campaigns fizzle out in single digits, so even the Vault Master wouldn't be in play. The Vault Adept might be pretty much as far as some go for the really short campaigns. The Vault Master might be a boss fight, but that's really wrapping it up there for them. And I've done the same by using some carefully constrained stats to give me an idea as to where things are, balancing around these, bringing up or down the defenses and the offenses based on the Warframe itself to make all of these balanced. I don't think they're all going to be perfectly balanced, but I've been doing a very thorough job of it over the last 6 streams, and I'd like to say chat here would agree with me. So Silverstrom, welcome on in to turning Warframes into D&D monsters. I'll have you know, it's probably a bit more balanced than Warframe itself is. Banshee will be scary with that damage multiplier. Ooh, he's made a mistake, chat. Do we know what mistake he's made? He's made the mistake of thinking that everything in Warframe has to carry over. Let me help you out on that one as well, my dude. Here's the Sonar spell. Banshee emits an audible magical pulse. All creatures hostile to Banshee within 60 feet become marked by the spell. This effect penetrates physical barriers such as the walls of a building or natural stone. A marked creature's location is known to Banshee and its allies, and if they are within 60 feet of the target for the duration of the spell, if they are within 60 feet for the duration of the spell, while marked, attacks against the creature have increased critical range by 1. And that's it! That's it! They know where the target is, and they get slightly higher chance to crit, which has very little effect on the damage. And yeah, it's 2 for the Prime. Was it Sonar, crit range 1, and then Sonar, crit range increased by 2. But the crit rate is still low. When you consider in Warframe, If we have a weapon with a 10% crit chance, we look at it and go, ugh, that's horrible. I don't want that weapon. Unless, you know, we're doing better stuff. Green screen is showing? Is it? Oh, God, what's happened there? Thank you for letting me know. What has gone wrong there? Where is that one? That is this side. What's going on there? It's probably camera settings messing up. Come on. Oh, that's too bright. There we go. That fixed it. There we are. Just needed to get the exposure setting back in place. Don't know what happened there. Thank you, Aliu. I don't like having a dodgy green screen. There are some people who stream with green screens with artifacts all around the place and just like, whatever. Ew, no. Anyway. I keep thinking bring the abilities being full force. I'm converting the Warframes over to Dungeons & Dragons. It's a reason it's taken a very long process. I'm not going to the wiki and just going copy, paste. Doesn't work. The range stats aren't being copied over. Energy for casting, that's just not a thing. We use limited casts. So like, for example, Banshee Prime here has 1 per short rest of all 4 abilities. They get to use every ability once and once only. The Prime. I'm balancing this for 5th edition, not just translating them over. And that's why this is such a big project. To make it where it actually works in a D&D setting while still clearly being the Warframes themselves. Baruuk is undeniably Baruuk. But it's Baruuk as a D&D monster. Cheers, Rainuva. Have I been paying attention to the World Cup, or is that not my sort of thing? It's not my sort of thing at all. As much as I love to see people kicking a ball around the field for 90 minutes whilst they get soggy chips from a vendor selling them for 10 times what they should cost. No, they're not really my thing. I don't follow the World Cup at all. I know that it's in Qatar, and I know there's a lot of political hoo-ha over that. And that's pretty much as far as I go on that side. And yeah, I'm not considering the Warframes in a modded sense because I don't need to worry about Warframes numbers. I'm worrying about Warframes theme in D&D. Mostly I'm only including augments for these abilities if those augments are relevant to making the ability feel significant. Like, for example, Ash's Shuriken, on its own, it's just you throw 2 throwing stars and they deal damage. That's boring. So the ability does strip armor. And likewise, Teleport, I've turned it to Fatal Teleport, so that Ash actually does something with the teleport. But Volt, on the other hand, it goes shock, it deals damage and slightly stuns people. Hell, that's a finished ability right there. Don't need to do any augmenting on it. Keep to Warframe in the chat. I appreciate that, Louis, yeah. I wouldn't be able to contribute anything on the World Cup stuff. And we're definitely not getting political on that. This is a no politics channel, as much as we can avoid it. And as much, look, don't get me wrong, I talk about politics plenty. But not as Dick Engineer. Not my place. Alrighty, so Desolate Hands, we agreed. We're going to make this to when a creature within 30 feet of Baruuk attempts to make an attack against Baruuk or its allies. The attacker, because pronouns are hard, the attacker must first make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed saving throw, the ethereal dagger strikes the creature, disarming it of its weapon, knocking the weapon away 10 feet in a random direction. Whether or not the dagger is successful, it then vanishes. While Baruuk has 6 or more daggers surrounding itself, it has resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Boom, there we are. That's sorted right there. Make it an ally within a specific range. No, it's when an attack is made within 30 feet of Baruuk. So, if you want to counter Baruuk's Desolate Hands, stand 35 feet away. If you are making melee attacks or range attacks, if you are outside of that range, you do not trigger the daggers. However, if you don't trigger the daggers, Baruuk will keep having that damage resistance, so it's a tie. Tie? Trade-off. I don't know why I said tie. Trade-off. It's a trade-off. Do you reduce the damage reduction, which is going to take 6 attacks no matter what, 7 attacks no matter what, or do you stay out of range to allow yourself to actually keep a hold of your weapon? It's a trade-off. Again, Baruuk is punishing the marshals, much like how Banshee punished the mages. We're in a solid spot there. So let's add this on. 1 per short rest of Elude, Lull, and now Desolate Hands, which, honestly, this doesn't feel like more than a 5th level spell. It's powerful, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like more than a 5th level spell. So I'm only going to put it at 5th level in terms of counterspell reasons. Let's figure out these damage stats. D10 is what we've upgraded to here thanks to the Unarmed Strike. It is a +5 on the damage. The total hit then is going to be 10. The 2 hit is also a +10. This one is also a +10. The range is unchanged. D6 +4 is going to be D6 +5, which comes out to an average of 8 damage. There we go. Banshee plus Baruuk punishes both in their own ways, yeah, absolutely. Banshee anti-caster, Baruuk anti-melee, Mesa will likely be anti-ranged. Baruuk is anti-martial, but yeah, he is more melee-focused, you are right. Except for the fact that Elude is better against the ranged characters, because Baruuk will be meleeing someone, the ranged characters are still going to have to deal with that disadvantage. But you got to remember, all this time, Baruuk has given disadvantage to most people attacking him already. Baruuk is painfully defensive. It's just he has to spend so many actions doing it all that which one does he do first? But we'll see how it all comes together with Mesa. Mesa is going to be a very interesting one. Like, Mesa's Peacemaker spell, I'm really going to have to think about how to make that one. Every week, when I see this is where we're going, it's where I expect we're going to be going. Every week, I'm thinking, okay, this frame's up next. How can I do that one? How can I make this work? 'Cause I'm coming in with half-baked ideas already. Mesa is really going to bake my noodle in trying to make that one both interesting and terrifying. Let's see where we are here. So, we've got the spells where they need to be, so that is good there. The damage stat then. What damage stat are we aiming for? So, I'm looking for around about 60 damage per round, and this is definitely where I'm going to bring in legendary actions. Legendary actions. Because legendary actions make the balancing on this so much easier. Oh, so much easier. So at default, our top tier damage, we are getting 10 4 times, plus the bonus action for 5 times. That's 50 damage already. But we don't expect him to normally put out that much. Those fists aren't going to be throwing too quickly, so I might... I might just throw in more fist attacks directly. Or do I not increase it to a D10? I might need to not increase it to a D10. Well, let's see how the math works out on this. I'm not going to jump the gun. Let me see. Legendary actions, let me copy the text over. To just get us started on that. There we are. So the Baruuk can take 3 legendary actions, choose from the option below. The Baruuk regains spent legendary actions at the start of its turn. Fist, spell that correctly. Baruuk makes a fist attack. No, it's Baruuk makes an attack with its fist. That's the terminology. We're going to say, oh, idea, Baruuk Prime, legendary action, elude if making a dex save. What, cast elude? That doesn't make sense. This is Peacemaker, rapid fire cone of magic missile. Oh, can you imagine? Channeled ability, like, use an action each turn to maintain it. Mesa casts magic missile at 9th level. Next turn. Next turn. Until they refuse to keep on using that action, they just keep that action going. That'd be dirty. That would be dirty. So if I go with Baruuk makes attack with its fists, at the moment, that's saying the maximum possible damage output, if Baruuk just goes full on melee, would be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 per turn. Baruuk could go absolutely insane with that damage output. Putting it to challenge rating slightly above 15, but that would mean it's not using a single action. And each time it uses an action, it costs itself effectively 40 damage. Is it me, or is that accidentally perfectly balanced? If Baruuk does nothing, it actually has the damage output it needs. Like if it does nothing magical. To do the other stuff it wants to do, it needs to be magical, which costs the ability to actually deal damage, therefore rebalancing it back to its challenge rating. That actually seems balanced. Like scary, but balanced. Shit, I'm just gonna roll with that. That actually seems okay. That might end up being powerful, but I don't think it will. So Baruuk makes... Do I add short bow? No, actually, you know what? I'm not going to add in short bow legendary actions then. I'm going to keep the DPS down to pure melee. The short bow is a backup. So we'll keep this there. So fists, we got reposition. Baruuk moves up to half its speed. And detect. Just make it where hiding from Baruuk is more difficult. Baruuk makes a perception check. Actually, it should be wisdom perception check, shouldn't it? And in case you're wondering, hang on, wait, why is that a legendary action? That is straight from dragons. Dragons frequently have that one there to make hiding from them even harder. I think that actually ends up being unintentionally just very easily balanced. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't know if you're happy with that, chat, but I'm actually quite happy with that. So, let's grab all of this. Actually, wait, I need to check, make sure everything's in the right place, because those stats aren't finished up here. The AC is good, the speed is good, hit points. We got D8 plus 4, which is 8.5, rounding for 225, divided by 8.5 is 26.47, you know what, I'll round down. 26 times 8.5 is 221, that works. That works. 2650, 204. I think that's correct. Grimpan's saying, I feel like to make Mesa really go burr, you can make the ability fire off a couple more attacks before each other creature's turn in combat. So it feels like she's just constantly attacking. You know what? That's not a bad shout, Grumpy Pants. Just this constant barrage of attacks. No shutting it off. The only thing you can do is just wail on Mesa to make it where they want to stop. But otherwise, it's just magic missile, pew pew pew, someone takes a turn, pew pew pew, someone takes a turn, pew pew pew, someone takes a turn, pew pew pew, Mesa takes a turn, pew 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 pew, someone else takes a turn, pew pew pew. Oh yeah, that'd be nasty. Did I work on Saren yet? No. So I've done the 3 starter frames, and now for the rest of them, I'm going through alphabetically. Because, hey, why not? Let's just take it in that order. It makes it nicer in the document to have the 3 poster child Warframes up front, and then thereafter it's just alphabetical, you can find them. I might even redo the document once it's done to put them all into fully alphabetical order, but mostly, yeah. I think I might... I'll have to think on that, on whether I keep the starters at the front of the document, kind of front load the ones that everyone who plays Warframe should recognize in some way or another, or put them all fully alphabetical. But for the rest of them, I'm doing them alphabetically, and it just keeps them in the document in the right order. Oh, yeah. Grumpy Pants. I wouldn't go with a Cone of Fire for Mesa because the facing in D&D isn't really a well-handled thing. And in Warframe, you just constantly spin on the spot anyway. So yeah. Vote. We just skip to Rayleigh next as your Snake Raider. Snake Raider, every time you bring up Rayleigh, she gets delayed by a week. Every time you mention Rayleigh, she gets delayed by a week. So already, I'm going to just, when we get to Rayleigh, I'm just going to take 3 weeks off where I don't do anything D&D at all. And if you keep mentioning Rayleigh, it ain't never going to happen. She's going to have to Varuna? Yep, she's going to have to Varuna. Alright. So yeah, those stats are in the correct place now. Dex and Whiz, Acrobatics, Animal Handling, Perception, Sleight of Hand. That is all correct. Yep. Unarmed Strike uses 1d10 included in the attack. The Bullet Jump is correct. Unarmed Defense didn't change because it's still accurate. Yes, it is Cruel Snake Raider because I don't like you, really. Elude didn't need to change. Lull didn't need to change. I have updated the DC. Is the DC correct? 35816. Yes, it is. Good. Desolate Hands. We've set that all up. Doesn't need anything special. It doesn't do any damage. That is part of the point. Yeah, it's good. Just for Snake Raider, Maximum Match. Just for Snake Raider. Everyone else can say the word Rayleigh. I'll just time you out. But for Snake Raider, it specifically delays the thing they're looking forward to. Because I'm that kind of a DM. Allow me to play my game just as much as you're playing yours. You irritate the fuck out of me. Well, rocks fall, Rayleigh dies. That's the way we play it. If I don't like her, that's more reason to get her out of the way sooner. Or I could just forget that she exists, Snake Raider. I could just genuinely forget she exists and not put her in the document. And if someone asks, where's Rayleigh? I go, sorry, did you want a child on the battlefield? What kind of a monster are you? We should add you to the document. I might even just give you a little blurb, like, here is the Rayleigh. Rayleigh doesn't matter the type. This is Rayleigh. Armor class, 10. Hit points, 5. Slightly better than commoner, just because the skateboard can get in the way. Abilities. Skateboard. Doesn't do very well, still caught by a fat man. Rayleigh sucks. We'll see in the rework. It's upcoming, if they get any better, but Rayleigh sucks. Let's be real now. Alright, Baruuk Prime. We're getting onto the real juicy juicies here. All the real juicy juicies. We're aiming for challenge 20. Which has an AC 19. Yeah, we can take that higher, can't we? We can take that higher. How much stats am I adding on? I'm adding on 1 across the board. Yep, that's definitely going higher. AC 20 Baruuk. Good bloody luck catching this one. Because it's going to have 22, 6. It's going to have a 16 and plus 3. It's going to have a 20 and a plus 5. Int. Yeah, I'll take up the int. No, actually, you know what? I'm not going to increase the con. Int needs to be 18 for plus 4, and the Wiz needs to be 18 for plus 4. And the reason I'm doing that is it means I can bring this up instead to a 12 for plus 1. 3, 9, plus 8 for 17, 21, 22. Yep, that's where it should be. Perfect. Can I delay you, Rayleigh? Delay who? Who's your Rayleigh? AC 20 is mean? AC 20 is not exactly mean. It's just really, really high. It's just really high. Yeah, it's mean. But you know what? I'm fine with that. So challenge 20. I mean, this is pretty much the pinnacle of leveling. Like, you have to be a group of 4 level 20s for Baruuk Prime to be a medium encounter. If you're not already at god tier level, Baruuk is not going to be a medium encounter. So, of course, 20 is going to be the armor class. I mean, when we compare to Banshee Prime, only... Well, I mean, not only. 18 AC. Banshee is a tough nut to crack. Atlas Prime, 23. There you go. Silver Strom, you talk about 20 AC as mean. There we are. Atlas Prime. That is, yeah, no, that's no fun. Oh, I love making these horrible monsters. I love it. Everyone who's not experienced this high level of play goes, what are you doing? Making a Warframe. What do you think I'm doing? 300 hit points is the rough aim that we're going for here. Let's pop that on. Baruuk's speed, we can increase that once again to 50 foot because it's supposed to be Speedy Boy. Baruuk is level 20 monk, supposed to be scary. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Saving throws, we've got Dex Whiz. Let's add on... I think I'm going to add on Charisma. Not Strength, not Con, not Int. Charisma. Also, what is Proficiency bonus at this point? Goes up at 5, 9, 13, and 17. So that should be a 6. Yep. The Dex is plus 12. A plus 12 to Dex saving throw is amazing. And yeah, charge is going to be a plus 7. Take out that weakness. Skills, acrobatics, animal handling, perception, sleight of hand. What fifth one do we add on at this point? I still don't want to go stealth because Baruuk feels like they just kind of walk through the Valley of Death, fearing no evil. I don't want to go for stealth. Do I just cheese it and go athletics? Or do I go deception? Weaving and tricking its way through. Do I go for an int-based skill? Religion, perhaps? Alright, you know what, chat? I'm putting it to a poll. I can't decide between a few options here, so I'm putting it to you. You get to decide, and that fixes it. It's only a skill, after all. It's not the end of the world. So, which skill? We've got athletics, we've got religion, we've got, I've said not stealth, what was the other ones I mentioned there? And deception. Give you guys a minute on that. Jason, you are a legend. Thank you once again. Alright, so the poll is up on that one. Which skill should we go for? Athletics, religion, or deception? Quickly, get onto that poll. Which one are we going for? Athletics, religion, or deception? If you got a shitload of channel points, here's your time. You can double vote. You don't often get that option. Athletics, religion, or deception. Which does Baruuk Prime get as their final skill? Which is their last one? You have about 20 seconds to get in on that poll. Hello, Esprit. Been working on the car. How's Baruuk going? It's going pretty well. Baruuk Prime is going to be an absolute monster. I see the vote is very heavily in favour of religion. I'll give you the guys until the end of the actual vote there, just in case many of you swing it. Religion's the winner. All right then. Baruuk Prime is going to be proficient in religion. Goes here. And with that int of a +4, that is a +10 to religion. Oh, sleight of hand is a +12. Perception is going to be a +10. Animal handling is going to be a +10. Acrobatics is going to be a +12. Baruuk would like to welcome you to the Church of Pain. They're certainly going to be a problem, aren't they? With passive perception of 20 and an AC of 20. So you can't hide, you can't hit. Just run. That's what you can do. You can just run. Once per turn, Baruuk may turn a jump into a bullet jump, jumping as if they had run up and able to cover 3 times the distance, because all primes get just a massive bullet jump. So that +3 in strength is +6, 6, 18. And 16 is into 48 foot. There we go. Yeah, Baruuk is not the fastest Warframe item, but they are absolutely fast, and combined with a Vault, they are devastating. You're very right. Pacifism was the only thing that can help people beat Baruuk. That and spells. Baruuk doesn't really have defense against spells. Spells just kind of slam straight through Baruuk. Now, we need to give Baruuk a damage immunity on here. These go, I believe it's after skills. So it goes, what's the order I do it? Yeah, condition and damage stuff. So damage resistances and condition immunity. So, condition immunities. Baruuk is immune to prone and restrained. Because all primes, or near enough all primes, get that. Damage resistance, because all primes get something here. That's what I've been doing. Most, if not all. Well, I suppose Grumpy Pants, you can teleport. You can fly. Baruuk does neither of those things. So, damage resistance. I don't want to go for the physicals, because that is available in Desolate Hands. So what damage resistance do we do? What damage resistance do we do? I mean, we could do fire, cold, lightning, poison, thunder, radiant, force, necrotic, acid. I think with the introduction of religion, what if we go radiant? Of all the things, what if we just go Baruuk is this holy unholy creation? Radiant damage is only half effective on them. They've reached such a monastic level that that is their resistance there. Nice, breathe. Again, bludgeoning, pierce, slashing, I've got that in the Desolate Hands ability, so I don't want to weaken Desolate Hands by having that covered by a natural resistance already. So I'd either go Radiant or I'd go for Poison, because monks, I think, don't they get some kind of resistance to poison? Oh, I'm just going to look this up. Monk 5e. What do actual monks get in the game? In 5th edition, what do they get when they get really high up? Sus Mind, Charms and Frightened, Disease and Poison. Okay. Attempt level to become immune to poison. Just fully immune to poison? Damn, okay. I think it's time for another vote. I can't decide again. Because I like the idea of both. So, which resistance? Poison, radiant, both, or immune to poison? There you go. I'm repolling you guys on that. Which resistance do we give to Baruuk Prime? Poison, radiant, both, or immunity to poison? You guys get to pick. I'm not too fussed either way, because I like all of those options, so I'm opening up to you guys. Radiant, poison, both, or immunity to poison. And again, if you've got loads of channel points and you're not really sure what to use them for, you've got the option to double vote. Just because if you're around long enough to get 10,000 channel points, yeah, you get an extra vote. Cheers on that, you know? I'm seeing it's a tie, or close to a tie, between Radiant and both at the moment. So Radiant is definitely looking like a favoured candidate there. But is it Radiant with Poison? Is Baruuk going to get that extra bonus? Both is getting the votes for. People want Baruuk to be a devil. Alright then. Both it is. Radiant and Poison. You voted for it, chat. So if you ever have a DM that decides to run Baruuk Prime against you, do not come crying to me. You're the ones that made him tough. Especially, I don't get the idea he's resistant to poison since Toxin Procs hurts any Warframe. The idea of being that, one, monks get it, just naturally speaking. They get immunity to poison, so we're leaning into him being more of a monk on that side in the first place. Secondly, Baruuk gets a hell of a lot of damage resistance in Warframe already. He's got the elude, he's got the restraint, he's got the desolate hands, he's got the desert storm or desert wind, or whatever the feck we call that ability. All that lot together gives so many sources of damage resistance, and we're only really covering just a general armor class and then a couple damage types, plus a few more on desolate hands, but only physicals. So it's really not that harsh overall, and if you're at level 20, you've got more than just radiant and poison at your hands. So this is tough for him, but I think it works out. And chat voted for it, so it's not my fault anymore. Not my fault anymore. I washed my hands of it. You guys did this, not me. Alright then. Let's make the rest of this happen. So that is now a D12, which we're going to include in the attacks in a moment. The unarmored defense doesn't need to change because that mathematics is still correct, which is amazing. Baruuk cannot be disarmed or de-armored, except if it's short though. Elude, we don't need to change a thing there. Lull, we need to update the spell save DC. Int 4, proficiency 6 is 10, 18. The Lull has a DC 18 on it, and Desolate Hands has a DC 18 on it. This guy is an absolute monster. 20 daggers, up from 12, so you can follow it on a D20 rather than D12. While Baruuk has 10 or more, you get the defense. Oh, this is gorgeous. This is absolutely disgustingly gorgeous. I love it, chat. Absolutely love it. Alright, I need to know for absolute certain what's it actually called. Alright, so it's actually called Serene Storm. There we are. I will never remember that. I do not care enough about Baruuk to remember that. Spell! And in keeping, one action. Because why not? Every spell's been one action so far, why not make this one action as well? Because it's supposed to be used with his melee attacks. Ah, never mind. One bonus action. That lasts for 1 minute. Baruuk channels key energy into its attacks with a devastating effect. Who's next in the alphabet? Good question. Let's have a look here. It is Caliban next. After Baruuk, we got Caliban. Oh, interesting. Baruuk channels key entry into its attacks with devastating effect. Whipping up a storm. There we go. Serene Storm, whipping up a storm. Close enough. Without being too cliche. I hope. It takes so long to get to Rhino. Yeah, that's the nature of the alphabet, Grumpy Pants. That's the nature of the alphabet. Think how Zephyr mains feel. So, Baruuk channels key energy into its attacks with devastating effect, whipping up a storm. Baruuk's melee attacks are enhanced and emit, no, not emit, and cause torrents of wind to follow them. Baruuk Prime before him as well. Before whom? Caliban Prime before DE. I mean, yeah. Project shockwaves of air. So Baruuk attacks and cause and project. Not shockwaves. Shockwaves implies just thunderous assaults. Because the literal shockwaves, they are barriers that shoot forwards. This, I'm going for more the storm, the wind, the flow of it. So it's the torrents. Torrents surge, whereas shockwaves blast. I know I'm picking over details here, but in keeping with the idea of how Baruuk hits, it is those waves, those surging waves of it, rather than walls of energy. How I'm seeing it differently. I might be wrong in my assessment, but that's more of the impression I get with a storm rather than just sheer blasts of damage. I know, Jason. I know. Yeah. And that is supposed to be possessive. Baruuk's melee attacks are enhanced and cause torrents of wind to follow them. Do monks get a ranged punch thing? They don't normally, no. So Baruuk is special here. When Baruuk makes a melee... makes an attack with its fists. The attack deals an additional, we'll figure out, additional X thunder damage on hit. In addition, all enemies in a 15-foot, I'm just going to go 15-foot, in a 15-foot line behind the target must make a Constitution saving throw. DC, we figured, is 18. On a failure, the creature takes X thunder damage. And we can figure out how much we need there in a moment. Actual Self Monk does? Oh, well, okay. But mostly no. I was saying that we should have terms of... Okay, Rainier, we'll get into the terms of Zephyr in about 2 years' time, you know, my dude? If we're doing a Warframe every single week, and then most likely the Steam is going to fade, there's going to be interest in other things being on stream, I'm going to have time off for this, that, the other as well. Zephyr's well over a year away. We'll get to the terms on that one when we get there. We may have completely abandoned the document by that point. D may have purchased it off me or told me to stop. We may have discovered that Dungeons & Dragons is actually the Antichrist. God knows what's going to happen by then, my dude. We'll get to Zephyr when we're at the end of the alphabet. We've got to do, you know, I'm trying to think of anything other than Varuna first, yeah. 1D&D will be out by then. 1D&D is compatible with 5th edition anyway, apparently, so... not a problem. Who knows, we might get a new Warframe in that time, starting with the letter Z. Like, we might get Zagara in Warframe. That would be amazing, first of all. Crossover with StarCraft. StarCraft and Warframe. We get a Zagara Warframe. Oh dear, could you imagine? Could you imagine? But yeah, how's this sounding so far? Strange Storm, basically, when Baruuk makes an attack, deals extra damage on hit to the target, and all enemies in the 15-foot line behind the target get hit by these wind waves coming out as well. From the windstorm that follows. Just to add a bit more flavour. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage. Just to give Baruuk a little bit more to work with. Imagine Zergling skins for Vulpefires and Maggots. Oh, could you imagine? Can you imagine? Not for the Maggots, it'd have to be for the Vulpefires. Zerglings are pretty big. And especially considering that the Cambion Drift is basically the Zerg. I mean, let's be honest now. You have Spore Crawlers, we have Hydralisks, we have Zerglings already in the Chargers, we have freaking Dropper Lords coming in. I mean, come on. The Cambion Drift is the Zerg planet of Xeros, pretty much. Although it's... No, it's not Xeros, no. The colour scheme is more that of... oh, what do you call it? God, that hellish-looking planet. What's it named? Char. Char! Thank you, Rainier. Yes, Char. Zerg HQ of Char. So, I mean, seeing as we already have such similarities to the point that maybe they don't want to do a crossover, because StarCraft will look at Warframe and go, hang on a second. What's that? What's that? What's that? And what's that? Where did you get the ideas for that, please? Yeah. Yeah, the Swarm doesn't populate Eris now. Fire? God. Could you imagine if we get a set of invasions which are actually sentient versus infested? To match how we've got Corpus versus Grania. So we get a sentient versus infested showdown. We get very much the Four-Eyed approach. And there's these two factions, and we're the Terrans, stuck in the middle between the Zerg and the Protoss, going, what the fuck is happening here? Could you imagine that kind of approach? The Sentients put together themselves the oh, what's that big old citadel? The robotic Protoss. It's been so long since I played the campaign. Ah. Cybros, yes. The Cybros. Thank you, Wolvens. Not individual units, the whole ass citadel. Oh, I remember this. Cybros. This fecking thing. A full-on citadel. Full of, basically, cyborg Protoss. The purifiers. All that stuff. It's absolutely devastating. You can see in the picture there, it is literally devastating. Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine? We get a Warframe version of that for the Sentients. That's a relay? Sentient relay. There you go. Shit, Warframe, I'm making your content for you right here, right now. Sentients establish a relay. Yeah, we go through the whole business with Pazul, and we turn Pazul over to our side. We get rid of Pazul, we get Era back onto our side. Era retakes control of the Sentients. The Sentients then, they're wanting to establish themselves. The Origin system's still a bit hostile to them, but they're setting up. They want to be more of their own faction, not just exterminating us, but now they want to deal with the fact the Infested, because the Infested is a threat to them, because the Infested don't agree with them. And so you've got them building up a relay, they're going full Cybros on the Infested. The Infested are having absolutely none of it, because Infested like that. Oh, come on, that's a whole fucking quest line right there. That's a whole ass quest line. As a Murex? Oh, Murex are much smaller. Murex are tiny in comparison. Oh... Trekkie never finished StarCraft, didn't play StarCraft 2. I never actually played StarCraft 1. I've only watched it and caught up on the storylines. StarCraft 2, honestly, is great, especially when you see the development from StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty through to StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. The development, the growth of that game is incredible. It's beautiful. The final chapter is absolutely astoundingly beautiful. Why did Blizzard have to be so shit? Sentients don't care about the Infested, they're immune, which is amazing, Renova. It fits the lore perfectly. It fits perfectly because the Zerg can't infest the Protoss. It required the work of the, what's it called? Oh, what are they? Demigod-like creatures. The Ancients, whatever they're named. You know the one I'm on about. Xel'Naga, thank you, Jason. It required the work of the Xel'Naga, basically, to be able to merge together Protoss and Zerg to create the hybrid. So really, when you think about it, the fact that Zerg normally can't just infect and infest the Protoss, as demonstrated in StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, where we have to do quite some workarounds to get there, it matches! It really, really matches. Oh my god, does it? It works too well. Warframe needs to do this shit. They can keep it their own still. It's still the Sentients. It's still the Infested. It's not the Protoss and the Zerg. But my god, is it so on point that their lawyers are probably scared of the idea. Is Corpus research to infest sentients to create things that are actually a threat to us? The Corpus and the amalgam tech leading to the development of merging two species together like that? Ending up with a sentient infested hybrid that could definitely happen due to Corpus research run by shady Orokin, who are basically the connected to the sentients. Oh yeah, that all connects. That all fucking connects. Starframe 2, Swarm of the Void. It fits too well. It fits too well, chat. Warcraft, wait, didn't Blizzard? Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. I need a different mode. This one's not got any tea in it. I need one that has tea in it. Okay. What is this mode? I think it's from a library. Yes, sorry, Jason. So, X Thunder damage on Serene Storm. You're very right. Let's have a look at that again, shall we? So, how much damage do we need to be doing? 100 per turn, typically less than that, but we're aiming at 100 per turn, but it's standard stuff. We said this came out to how much? I need to upgrade the details on this, don't I? That's going to be an 11 now. Because that is a 6. That's actually, wait, no, it's not going to be 11. It's going to be a 12. Oh, God. I don't know if we can even make room for Serene Storm. Let's see on all of this. I might make Serene Storm a concentration one because of just how damn powerful it could end up being here. But let's see. With Fist being 12, with 4 attacks you get 48. With a Quick Strike you get 60 total. And with the legendary action, 60 plus another 36 becomes 96. I mean, that's already on point for the amount of damage we want to have. You know what? No, I'm going to roll this back, chat. I'm rolling this back. Fist needs to be 2 actions. I was concerned, but okay enough with it before on the Master, but now I'm looking at the Prime, no. The legendary actions are restricting our ability to make this interesting, so I'm actually going to dial that back. I'm actually going to dial that back. Because otherwise it's too much. What that does, that takes 20 damage out of the Baruuk Master, which is probably going to put it on the weak side, but that's fine. That's where we've been all the way along. And doing the same here now, we got, as I said, if we use in the action, we get 48, plus a bonus action 60, plus this once is going to make that 72. Which is nice and low for our standard stuff. That gives us room to add in extra damage. Now, 72 across a total of... Well, actually, we could still get more from... Oh, yeah. Now, 72 across a total of 6 attacks. So if I want to allow no more than about 28 added on... Oh, God, we're not going to get much at all from this. You know what? Okay, Serene Storm, let's take off the successful save damage, because that's going to mess up with mathematics and also be more annoying to deal with. If I were to make this deal an additional 5 thunder damage... Let's see how that works out. I just went to triple fist damage for Serene Storm. Oh god, no. No, that'd be well too much. Well too much. Sentient Nightmares, welcome to the stream, saying, love your Warframe videos, man. Finally caught you live. Well, welcome in. Hope you enjoy your stay here. We're very close to wrapping up Baruuk Prime, and this long old document of Warframes as D&D monsters. Baruuk Prime being the most powerful of the possible Baruuks. So, if I do it as 5 damage, let's see how that pans out. Baruuk decides to activate Serene Storm and does no other spells. We're going to run with that as an idea first, see how that feels. By doing so, all of their attacks are now +5, So they're 17 on hit, and they do an additional 521 behind. Let's assume they always get 1 in. They shouldn't, but let's assume they do. So that gives them 22 per hit. 22 times 4 is 88, plus the quick strike, 110, plus the bonus action, 132. That's huge. 132 damage per round is off the chart. That is huge. Now, it's difficult for them to land all of that lot. Realistically speaking, they're not likely to get a target behind for the ton of damage. So it's more like 17 times 6. Again, if they throw it all together, that's still 102. Which is strong, but not too strong. And that still stops them from casting any of their other spells. They don't have their major defenses up. They don't have a lose. They don't have lull. They don't have desolate hands. They would need to spend actions getting to that, and those actions take away from this damage. Strong, but at a cost and avoidable. I think that works, chat. Strong but avoidable, I think, is the answer we're looking for. I mean, how do we feel, chat? How do we feel on that side? Where if it does get even one enemy behind its target for Serene Storm, then it's going blap, blap, blap. It's putting out a lot more damage than we've been expecting, which on top of the other stuff is going to be kind of crazy. But it needs to take the time to cast its other spells for that to really matter. And even then it needs the positioning to get that to work. Whilst it can reposition and move quite quickly, everything that it does to move more reduces the damage output it has. And it's still limited by the fact that it has to get into punching range. Yeah, I think this works. I think this works. I don't need to add concentration to that. Baruuk is too limited, because Baruuk can't, for example, do Serene Storm and Lull in a turn, even though it's a bonus action and an action, because that's 2 spells 1 turn. You can't do that. Mathematically, I think this actually works out. Baruuk has very bad range stats. Very, very bad. But Baruuk has fists, which really slap if you let them slap. And Baruuk can just keep going, and just keep going, and just keep going, and just keep going. The idea is outrange, outmaneuver. Baruuk needs to go all out in damage or be restrained. I mean, Baruuk can't be restrained, if you mean that term technically. Baruuk Prime can't be restrained. The normal Baruuk, you know, the Baruuk Initiate, Adept, and Master, they can be restrained, but Baruuk Prime, like all Primes, restrains off the table. Too strong for that. Too strong. So, yeah. What am I missing, chat? What am I missing in the design of the Prime here? We got damage resistance, radiant, and poison, which can definitely throw things off. We're throwing hands like crazy, but Baruuk has to make some very tough choices. Action to elude, or action to lull, or action to desolate hands, or action to actually attack. It's called desolate. Yeah. Alright, you take care, Addy. We'll catch you around. Restrains as in its mechanic. Okay, so has to go all out, or is restrained in how much damage it deals. It's a choice between damage or actions, yeah. Zom, cheers. You know what? I think this nails it. I'd love to keep tweaking and fiddling, but there reaches a point where you just go, you know what? No, this actually has it. This is a challenge rating 20 threat. The defenses can get ungodly high. All of the damage reduction, oh not there, all the damage reduction here against every kind of physical damage type, even if it's magically sourced, resisted. On top of the resistance to radiant poison, on top of the immunity to prone and restrained, on top of some powerful saves right there. Elude, You now have disadvantage to attack. Baruuk will decide when it's ready to attack. Yeah, no, screw the adapted damage, Jason. Too much work for the DM. We got Lull, which is another dangerous one. That DC. I mean, a DC 18 charisma saving throw, that's not the end of the world. But you think how many murder hobos dump their charisma? They're like, oh, what do we need charisma for? We're kings of the world. We've got money for this. The bard can have charisma. They'll talk us all out of it. Baruuk comes in. Look. I think I can't move. Oh boy. He's gonna kill us all. Yo, Mr. Math, thank you very much for subscribing with your Prime. Cheers, my dude. Glad you're enjoying the channel. Enjoy your lovely blue badge, your access to the supporter T-Lounge over on the Discord, which, by the way, is where this stream was voted for, so you have a vote there now, too. Enjoy your emotes and your ad-free viewing on the channel. All that lovely stuff put together. Thank you very much, dude. I really do appreciate it. Spell levels need adjustment? They do, yes. Spell levels need adjustment. You know what? I'm actually going to give... Now I've said about it a lot. I'm going to give Lull more range. 60 feet. Because I'm evil like that. Elude 3rd level. Lull 6th level. Desolate Hands. That's definitely powered up. 7th level. And Serene Storm. Serene Storm isn't that strong. Serene Storm, I'm only going to make... It's really not that strong at all, is it? I'm going to make it 6th level. There we are. Bismuth, you're very welcome. Glad you enjoy the videos, my dude. And again, thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate that a lot. So yeah, Baruuk is literally handing out naps, isn't he? You get to sleeping, you get to sleeping, you get to sleep, and the elf didn't go to sleep. Well, I can fix that real soon, can't I, buddy? Hello, Mr. Elfie boy. Oh, you're a wood elf. You can run at 35 feet. I can run at 50. Bonus action, swift speed, dashes, 100 feet, up in your face, punchity punch. You're like, screw this. Dimension door, get out of there. It's like, okay, legendary action, I move up closer, I move up closer, I move up closer. The elf starts screaming, please, someone wake up. The other three are still snapping. The barbarian just... me. Not having any of it. Yeah. That's terrifying. That's definitely terrifying. It's not quite save or suck, but it's certainly save or get slowed and try and figure out what you're doing next. Start asking for buffs from the bard to make your saving throw, or get the cleric to give some blessings out, all that kind of good stuff. And when you're at level 20 threat, that's fine. The bard is faking sleep. Oh dear. Now the bard probably throws out some really crappy one-liner like, oh, Baruuk babe, you don't need to use Lull to get me sleeping with you. At which point Baruuk just slaps him in the face 5 times. Usually doesn't end well for the bard, that line, but, you know, he tries. Horny bards, we've all had to deal with them. I'm quite happy with that. Not the bard story, that's terrible. That was a horrible joke. Ah, XP, that needs to be corrected. It is 25k, there we go. Let's check the rest of these then. So, armor class, correct. Hit points was corrected. Jason gave him the numbers on that one. Maybe just triple check your work, just be absolutely certain. 36 times by 8.5. 306. I misread Jason's message. I'm going to scroll up. I'm checking your message now. Where is it? Jason, for HP, 3068 plus 144 gives him 305. He lied. I have to check the other math. Well, the rest of it's correct. You're off by 1 point. Jason, you take 1 point of shame damage. Oh dear. You're doing so well. Hey, it's fine. It's fine. We're all good. We're all good. Bards of the Kirks of D&D. Oh god, yeah, they really are. Emotional damage. Oh god, it was only 1 point, dude. Yo, chill. It's only 1 point. You're fine. But yeah, I think we have the rest of that all good. So the hit points are all good. Speed is scary, but you know, it's what it's supposed to be. The stats are all corrected there. Saving throws are in the right place. Skills. Yep. All the jumps are correct because we did all those. 1d12, which including the damage, which we do have down here. The short bow is still not doing a lot, but that's the point. The short bow is Baruuk going, I'm out of options. Pew, pew, pew. Not a lot. Not a lot at all. Baruuk is definitely struggling against range attackers. That's why we gave him speed to actually close the distance. I'm happy with this. That's done. Chat. We're done. That's the entirety of Baruuk. I don't need to do anything more of this. I can basically just print this and put it in the Discord. Job's a freaking good one right there. And of course, these empty gaps you guys are seeing, I'm going to be filling those up with more graphics in the final product, like I have done with the first couple Warframes there. So you see, I've not done anything so far for Vault and all the others, but this is how they can sit in. So like Excalibur taking up a full page piece there, and with Mag using a bit of creative license in overlaying additional graphics to cut out bits, it actually kind of works. Gives it that blotchy feel. Yeah. How many points of shame need to be banished? As many as it takes. Jason is quite a high level, you gotta see. You see that lovely little diamond next to her name. You see that bronze mug next to her name. Jason is a high level. It takes more than a bit of damage to get rid of them, you do. It takes more than a bit of damage to get rid of them. 3-minute dance party to celebrate. Honestly, with the amount of tea I've had right now, if I open up a dance party, well, suffice to say, it would not be good in a very different kind of stream. I've had too much tea. Suffice to say. Whew. This has been fun once again, chat. This has definitely been fun once again. With the ramblings about adding in more of the storyline of StarCraft into Warframe, it really could happen. When did you get a diamond? Jason, at pretty much the start of the stream, you gave the hit points on, I think it was the first Baruuk. You gave me the information on that. I was like, you know what, you've been really helpful every single time. You've been given a lot of very helpful information towards this, so yeah, have a diamond. You've been a big part of making this. Not like a hugest part, but as far as chat goes, a big part. So you get a diamond. That's how this works. I would give Zom a diamond after all they've done, but unfortunately I've given them a green sword, and the green sword is mutually exclusive with the diamond, so, you know. Zom, it's there in theory. It's there in theory. Alright then, chat. Yeah. We're going to wrap it up there. We've got nothing left to drag out, nothing more to talk on the topic. We've got Baruuk done. There is definitely no time to start onto Caliban, but that's fine. We can leave that for another time if you guys vote for it over in the Supporter Tea Lounge. Again, if you are not already a subscriber, subscribe here on the channel, or if you don't want to subscribe through Twitch, you can support me on Patreon. I think, what is it? On Patreon to subscribe, it's £2 a month. That's half the price of what it is for a subscription. I think you have to pay the VAT on top of that, but it's still near enough half the price of a Twitch subscription. So if price isn't a matter for you there, you can subscribe on Patreon instead. Don't know how regional pricing works into that. And likewise, you can subscribe on YouTube as a member there if you want to do it in a different way again. All roads lead back to Discord for the Supporter Tea Lounge, where you get a vote on what happens. I'll say I already have a lot of badges. A diamond will make it longer than my name anyways. Fair point, yes, you do already have 3 badges. You are stocked up on badges. Who's to say what else you may get one day. But that is where we're going to wrap it up, chat. I hope you have enjoyed yourselves here in the stream today with the creation of Baruuk Prime. I've made Baruuk Prime before, dear. There we are. That's your title. that's the title of this stream. And on that one, I'm going to see you guys again on Sunday. Thank you very much for your help and for making this enjoyable as ever. I'll catch you guys around later. Bye-bye.